Hello, hello. How's everyone doing? A bit of an extra stream today. I was not planning to stream, but well, got some news. So, yeah, Fubi, how you doing? Meister, Mormor, Tomato, how you doing? Janet, hello, hello. Hope everyone's doing great. I'll probably just quickly log in game. I'm not going to do any BDs today, spoilers. We're just going to read the decay changes, and maybe I continue the tier list. See if the coffee helps at all. Kind of literally just woke up. Corrosive buff, I saw some of it. I didn't read most of it. But I was linked some stuff, so I've been spoiled a little bit, but it is a big post. We just have a lot of yapping to do, I guess. Corrosive buff, but it is not a buff though. We'll get to that, we'll get to that. Fossil is completely useless. No, don't say that. They touched fossilize, why? Or hopefully fossilize, but not Saturn rocks. Yeah, we'll get to that in a moment. 7-hour stream react? No, probably not. It needs to fit in a YouTube video too. I would have just done this tomorrow, but given how content creation is on YouTube, I kind of have to do it today. So sorry if I'm a little bit of a mess at the moment. Don't have time to do anything. Just quickly put on mustache wax and start the stream and make coffee. Wait, let me check. Is the YouTube title correct? Hopefully it is. Didn't change the other day. Geek stream is on. Okay, excellent. I do this, I don't have to do them later. Plus will give people time to tune in, right? My identity, thank you for the follow. Thank you. Much appreciated. Don't expect them to revoke the class to this extent. There's a lot of... I didn't read it, but I saw the like the scroll wheel thing was yeah, it's gonna be quite a lot, I think, based on that. Just gonna quickly speedrun this. Swan. By the way, it was funny to see there was some talk about Endeavors taking too long during the big reveal event. Like, what are people talking about? Endeavors taking long? It's like 5 minutes. So super fast. A few flesh stars next to the chivalry things and it's done. When they said to enter the endgame housing? No, only for the Endeavors. What's up, partner? How you doing? It's like Javelin is perfectly fine, you can just counter it by dodging. You have to break it. Yeah, you have to break it every time though. That's the problem. If you fight some Bowproc Andy. It's like, while breaking can help, like eventually it's gonna land and then you might be in trouble if the build is not tanky enough. Game tells you when to dodge the CC, just worthless. Wait, oh, okay, we'll probably, that's probably some change, right? We'll get to that. Kisnovi, how you doing? Good afternoon. Baklava, how you doing? Did you getting patch notes earlier or what? Sort of. I think it's more than patch notes, some explanations of why they make the changes and whatnot, so it's in a way probably more interesting than the patch notes. But I'll just quickly speedrun this stuff and then I don't feel bad for being on ESO category if we at least play the game a little bit. Even if it's just for the Endeavors. We'll switch to the DK post after that. Oh, where's the last one? There. Wait. Oh, it wasn't the last one. Oh. Okay, just the crafting one and we're out. They had a delay to Saturn. No, that's ridiculous if they do that. Came back yesterday after long ESO hiatus. So the news and joy of playing ESO appeared again. Oh, that's interesting. I mean, there's some good changes in the next patch. There are some good stuff. I was hoping for the mid-size PP zone and like more from the PP progression system they mentioned, but there are some like good class reworks, I guess. They're kind of fixing subclassing a little bit. Have your builds updated in the website? Yes. Almost all of them. There's a couple of healer builds that are not up to date, but everything else is up to date. All the DD builds, all the range melee, like all of that is up to date. And from healers, the Nightblade healer, the Warden healer, the Necro healer, and wait, Warden, Nightblade, Necro, and what else do I have? Or is that it? For healers. Oh, the Arcanist Shield support. So 4 out of 7 for the healers too. I feel like not like stepping into subclassing, but need to work on that. Subclassing is kinda, unfortunately, it's just best in slot most of the time. There are some builds that don't want to subclass, like this Nightblade that I'm on at the moment. You don't want to use subclassing because you need to use Leeching and Invis Cloak, and you kinda need the siphoning for that, and Assassination is just best in slot for the burst, so you do Mono Nightblade. But it's a very like rare exception nowadays to not have any subclassing, but they plan on changing that. This year we should see a lot of changes that encourage just playing monoclass instead of subclassing. Stonefist didn't get squad. What's a bottom? We'll get to all of that in Warcraft 1 Jubilee, and I think we can close the game. Have to do the endeavors later. There, it's done, right? No, what the heck? No, it's done. DK was your main. DK's the first one to get the big reworks. The Magicka Templar, how you doing? Got some posts somewhere, I'll pin them in the chat in a moment. Also need to change the playlist because otherwise I get muted on... or well, I can post on YouTube. Thanks, Vixby. How you doing? Hello. Can I mod pin that? I don't know if I can do it from OBS. If you can pin Vixby's post, that'd be great. If I Didum here or any mods. Mod check. Well, it's okay. I'll do it from the Twitch page. I don't know if you can from OBS. No, you can only ban people. Let's not do that. Okay, there we go. Post actually goes into detail. Yes, that's exactly why I wanted to start the stream and talk about it. Hey, please don't hide in. Okay, change the playlist a little bit. Checking out the class refresh. There is a lot. There is a lot. You see how small the wheel is. It's gonna be a while. Good thing we have coffee. Delve into the bottom heart of the major changes and improvements coming to the Dragon Knight class. ESO's combat team has returned to provide an update on the ongoing class refresh work. Specifically, they're taking you through the Dragon Knight changes. You can expect to find an update 49 going live for all platforms on March 9th. But that's not Spot Developer Deep Dive. This breakdown delves into the team's thought processes behind almost every change to the Dragon Knight. Be warned, this is a long read. Hi Brody. As we mentioned in our class refresh announcement, in an effort to modernize ESO's classes, address overall combat balance, improve look and feel, and alleviate the subclassing concerns, changes are coming to the class system. The first class we're looking at is the Dragon Knight. As developers, we look at design from the perspective of problem spaces, which identify issues that need to be solved. We can identify these spaces through metrics, player feedback, surveys, our own playthroughs, etc. Through this process, we come up with solutions to any identified problem spaces in the form of designs, which leads you to what you get in the game. Okay? Sounds reasonable. Every time they mention feedback, though, you have to be very wary of what feedback you listen to. Like, if it is informed feedback or if it's just people wanting to be vocal. And they have to be able to separate the two. That's important. Dragon Knight size problems. Based on your feedback surveys and in-game metrics, we have identified the following problem spaces to address within the Dragon Knight class. Dragon Knights are currently portrayed as powerful attrition warriors, but they lack the distinct ability functionality that helps to bring this experience to life. As an extension of this, the Dragon Knight's damage over time effects are built the same as any other class, true, making gameplay across classes feel somewhat homogenized. It's a global issue, it especially hurts Dragon Knights. Yeah, all the dots, like they made that change a couple years ago where they made every dot be the same duration, or almost every dot. Every dot would do the same damage per tick, unless there was a specific modifier to that skill. They made everything the same, basically. And DK being the dot class, of course that affects DKs a lot. Now that doesn't mean DK doesn't have really good dots. I think the best dots are in Ardent Flame with Noxious Breath and Venomous Claw, for example. But it's not like dot gameplay from abilities is a big thing at the moment. It's mostly sets that provide the pressure with things like Sun or Lake Break and all the Oblivions as like Snake in the Stars and Disdain, increasing the status procurations and whatnot. I think the focus is more on the sets than the abilities. So if they want to make DK a dot class or feel more like a dot class, that'd be great. And Firebrand, of course, worth mentioning. Playing as a Dragon Knight can often feel swingy in combat moments with their ultimates and passives, which allows them to come back from the brink. While this is a satisfying experience in some cases, such as Spell Roar, we want this to be a more central part of the Dragon Knight's rhythm in combat, where it builds up to deliver eruptive, punctuated experiences like a volcano would. Crottier, thank you for the follow. Thank you. Inner Light, how you doing? Am I doing alright? Doing alright. I didn't plan on streaming today, but we got this DK news post, so I do want to go through that. So I think there's quite a bit that should be interesting. Skill lines are mostly focused on specific roles, while core functions are also split up. This makes Dragon Knight suffer while subclassing compared to class like the Arcanist or Necromancer. I don't know if I agree with that. At least for PvP. I don't know if they're thinking about PvE, but even in PvE, Ardent Flame is a pretty solid skill line. You have Standard and you have Whip giving weapon spell damage. Doom's Oblivion being a very good crit buff there. I don't know if I agree with the statement. I think the one that suffers the most from subclassing in PvP is Arcanist. Iron Flame meta in PvE? Yes, and it's very good in PvP. And Earthen Heart is very good in PvP. If you want to play more DK skill lines, you can play Iron Flame and Earthen Heart just fine. I mean, yeah, Draconic Power is bad, but you could say DK has the, like, one of the skill lines is the worst one in the game, that's been Draconic Power. So maybe that's the rationale, I don't know, but I would say there's other classes that suffer more in PvP than DK from subclassing. Like Arcanist, for example, you can't really subclass because you lose very important passives that have to do with the Cruxian and Crux consumption. For example. But I guess that's the idea, that you don't want people to subclass. But DK is still, like, it's fine, I think. Is there any class that absolutely needs to subclass? I mean, all of them, yes, but, like, which one needs to subclass the most, when you think about it? I don't know if it's DK. I think Necro, yeah, Necromancer. Like, good luck playing Living Death and Bone Tyrant. Yeah, you're right, Necrobull. You kinda must subclass, you know. No, Arcanist, you still want to subclass, you lose more because you lose the passives, but the passives are not really worth it enough to disincentivize subclassing. But yeah, I would have started with Necro. Anyway, makes their skill lines less desirable to subclass into. For example, Burning Talons is locked behind an otherwise damage weak skill line, yes. Making less optimal option to take, despite being an iconic form of damage over time to the class. That's not the main reason why Burning Talons is bad though. Like, even if you have Draconic Power as a skill line, you want to run Scribing, and I talked about this on my tier list. You want to run Soul Burst. Why? Because Burning Talons has 6 meter range. It just doesn't land. You don't land the root, you don't land the damage over time, and the damage over time is about the same as on Soul Burst, which has 8 meter range. So you always want to run Soul Burst over Talons, unless you want to provide the synergy for your team, but it's like very, very specific scenario. So I hope they change Talons more than just by moving it to some different skill line. Recognize are significantly less effective and differentiated in the support role, lacking core tools in the kit, as well as a distinct gameplay experience for the role. That is true. That is true. That's mostly because the support skills that DK has are terrible. Again, I talked about this on my tier list, but Fragmented Shield, Igneous Shield, like, what is this? And even things like Cinders, like, and you have Cauterize on a damage skill line, for example, like, it's very, very weird to play as a healer. You can still do it. It's just you kind of want to subclass, but you want to subclass on every healer because you don't need them as skill lines or tank skill lines really. One of the major goals of the class refresh is making sure each class skill line offers something big and impactful for each role. Okay. I wonder how they're gonna make healer DK feel different from healer Templar or healer Necro, or how they want to incentivize staying monoclass for healer in particular. I guess we'll find out in this rework. In the standard for ESOS classes, Dragon Solutions. Tackle the issues we mentioned above. We're looking to make the following high-level adjustments. Drive home the sensation of attrition by introducing ramping effects such as the Avalanche passive or the new Engulfing Dragonfire effect, which gets stronger as you persist in active combat. Okay, so kind of like DDF, I guess, or Roxam kind of stuff. That's not good for Acuity DK, because Acuity DK is very hit and run. That might have to change. But then again, you can kind of chill on the backlines and just rest the heavy still. It's not like you drop out of combat in PvP, so this might not affect PvP too much in the end. Capture that feeling of building an eruption power. Combat should reinforce rotations and a cycle with more clearly represented highs and lows. need to do damage. Oh, so you need some dots. Okay. That's doable. Kumpas pakko to make that fine. Now, if you need to do damage, it's a bit different then. Rotation cycle with more. I mean, you have that with Acuity Koro right now, but Dragonites will have more nuanced effects that drive their identity. They'll offer unique abilities or twists that other classes lack to make them stand out contextually, such as unique damage over time functionalities with their own durations and damage values. Okay, that's good. I like when you don't have the same thing for everything. When you have different durations, different ranges, different like damage values, that's good. That's a good change if they want to do that. Improve the dispersion of role functionality among the Dragonite skill lines. Each skill line should offer something meaningful for your role, while simultaneously making you pause to trade one of those skill lines for another in the context of subclassing. Okay, but how do you do this for healer? How do you do this for healer? So you have heals spread out between all of the skill lines right now. You have Cauterize on Ardent Flame, you have Cinders and Fragmented Shield on Earthen Heart. You have absolutely nothing in Draconic Power. You pick one of those. You pick one of those, you get like Cauterize, for example, or you get Cinderstorm. And then the other skill lines, you just get healing skill lines from other classes. Keep reading? Okay. Improve the dispersion of role functionality among Dragonite skill lines. Read that. Introduce more abilities and passives that aid in carving a niche in the support role, with effects like Protect the Brute, previously Dragonfire Scale, which gives range damage reduction to nearby group members. I was linked, I saw a little bit of this. They're buffing ball groups, man. Not a big fan of that. We'll get more into that in a moment, I think. These high-level principles inform the more granular adjustments you'll see below from skill line to skill line and ability to ability. Upcoming adjustments, skill line shuffle. In light of subclassing, we've decided to look at skill line ability and passive distribution more closely than we have before. There are currently two distinct models of building skill lines for classes, a role-centric model, Necromancer, Arcanist, most of Warden, and one that focuses on theme or identity, original for classes with some exceptions such as Nightblade's Assassination. Okay. What does that mean, with some exceptions? I'm trying to understand this phrase. A role-centric model. So you have the... How is this explained later? What does this even mean? You have Corpse Mechanic, you have Crux Mechanic, you have what exactly on Warden? Slightly confused here. One that focuses on theme or identity. Warden has the Frost theme and the Animal theme. What about identity? What is the identity on Templar? What is the identity on Tankline? On the DLC. Right. That's what it means. But you kind of have that on Templar, so I don't know why they didn't add it there. Or well, I guess you don't have a tank skill line, right? Downsweat and Adric are both damage skill lines. Okay, I see. They do have a healing one though. Yeah, Templar doesn't really have a tank skill line. Most of it is in Adric Spear, but I wouldn't call it a tank skill line. Okay, so do they want to change that? Only for the DLC ones? Prior to subclassing, there was a strong internal sentiment that the newer class model of role-specific skill lines was a more successful system for newer players, building more digestible experiences and building more modular buckets that could be more easily compared and balanced to one another. With subclassing, however, this model introduced a slew of challenges and imbalances where now the ideal way to play would involve picking a role-specific line from every class. This created a sense that it was largely ineffective to stay true to your class, and that the power difference between those who do and do not was larger than any other build permutations before. Yes, I would agree with this. Metalfinger, how you doing? It's also hurt and exasperated an already existing problem space of class identity feeling, like it took a backseat to gameplay. As such, we'll be adjusting skill lines to follow a more team and identity focused model, as we work on each class, where we blend a healthy mix of tools and effects for every role in each. Good. This is actually a very good way to balance the subclassing issue, if they do that. Because right now, you can just pick full damage, for example. If they spread the damage passives to different skill lines, put some defensive ones, then you lose offensive power. If you want to stack just full damage, like Animal Companions, Assassination being a good example, I think we should see less damage as a result of this. And it also fixes the healer issue, where if you have heals in every skill line, you have to kind of think which one you pick as a healer. Not just pick the healing skill line and then pick the healing skill line from the other classes. Which is like why, when subclassing came out, I said healer would be the easiest thing to build. When it came to subclassing, and it was. It was. We didn't need to change the healer builds, we just got an idea, build it, and boom, unkillable Giga Healbot. Easy. But if you have to think, if they put the heals in different skill lines and the passives, then that's a really good way to not maybe completely fix the subclassing problems, but at least fix a lot of them, right? So I would say this is a good approach. But they have to find all of them. They can't leave like one skill line that's just still gonna be super good for healing, and then everyone picks that skill line. You know, like, can't leave it half done. Apocalypse, how you doing? Hello. Have some big DK news going over those. It is our hope that every skill line will offer something you can use regardless of your role, while simultaneously spreading out the power that makes a class come to life, and drive home the sensation that staying true to your class is also a much more viable and distinct option. That's good. That's what people have been asking for. Here's an outline of what each of the skill lines will look like for the Dagger Knight. A crossed out name means that the ability or passive has moved, while originally X denotes a renamed or reworked effect. The movement of these abilities and passives does indeed change which abilities and passives interact with one another, or even other effects like class sets. So keep this in the back of your mind. Interesting. There are some that require you to use specific abilities, like on Necro, for example, Bone Tyrant and Noble in Decay. If they move some good abilities to Bone Tyrant, that could be very impactful, for example, but let's see. We've also made adjustments to the movement of these abilities to ensure any previous progression is retained when an ability moves. We'll continue this effort through the class refresh. So Ardent Flame, Dragon Knight Standard. There's no class set, by the way, that only works for Ardent Flame. There is the other one, Basalt, that requires Earthen Heart. Keep that in mind when reading any of this. Basalt might get buffed a lot as a result of the swapping of the abilities. So Standard stays, Whip stays, Searing Strike or Venomous Claw stays. I don't know if they changed these, but Fiery Breath, Noxus, Core of Flame, originally Inhale, so now we have a delayed burst, I guess. I kinda like Noxus, I feel kinda sad if... but we can probably get it from another skill line, potentially. Pathfire, originally Ash Cloud. Okay, so you have a little bit of healing here now. And you still have Cauterize, so this could be a very good healing skill line. If you have Cinderstorm and Cauterize in one skill line, that's Giga. Combustion, so you still get Sustain. Traumatic Burns, they probably, like, if they rename the skill, that probably means that it gets a change as well, or passive. So Warmth is the 30% snare when you land an Ardent Flame ability, and I believe it's also 66% on... no, that's on Combustion, never mind. So you get burning and poison damage here. This was the snare. Snare and dot damage if you land an Ardent Flame ability. So they changed that. And the Flames, originally Searing Heat. This is the extra duration, right, on the dots, I believe. So they changed that passive. This passive was very meh, from what I recall, so it's good if they changed that. This was plus poison damage and fire damage. They changed that. Solar Blaze, originally Burning Heart. Oh, they moved the This is the Ultigen passive, right? Wait, no, Burning Heart was... which one was this? Was this the duration increase in Earthen Heart? Or healing received in Draconic... I don't remember which one, but... Something stays renamed without changing for some reason. Oh, I see. So Draconic Power has Leap, Noxus, okay, that immediately makes the skill line better. Talons, if they don't change it, it's still Garbo. Dragon Blood, kinda mid-heal. Wing Buffet, originally protective scale. It's pronounced buff it, because they should buff it. I get it. I get it. Inhale, Chains of Flame, original Fire Grip. Oh, right, they moved the gap closer to the skill line. Interesting. Interesting. Burning Scales, originally Iron Skin, is the armor passive. Golden Ruin, this was the extra fire and poison damage. Health regen stays, apparently. Skilled Armor, the Storm Voice. This was, what was Scale Armor? That was healing received, I think. Or no, this is healing received. Oh no, this was block mitigation, never mind. This was the armor. I need to drink my coffee. Storm Voice, original Battle Roar. Battle Roar in Draconic Power, interesting. Interesting. Earthen Heart, so Koro stays there. Keep in mind, Earthen Heart has the other class. Magma Armor, Superheated Ward, originally Stone Fist. So they changed Stone Fist. Someone said they wouldn't. They should, the skill is not good. Molten Weapons, Obsidian Shield. Please change Obsidian Shield. Why is this in the game even? And Molten Weapons is kinda not a fun ability. Petrify. Ashcloud, Earth Spike Mantle, originally Spiked Armor. Do they change the armor buff? Do they? Or just the name? I guess we'll find out. Passives. Eternal Mountain, Heart of Stone, originally Scaled Armor. This is the armor. Avalanche, Balrog is changed from the skill line. Mountain's Blessing, this was the Ultigen and Minor Brutality. Mountain Giant, Helping Hands, this was the 1k stam if you use an Earthen Heart ability with a cost of more than 1k magicka. Additional changes and improvements. We've also made a series of additional tweaks, fixes and improvements to the Dragon Knight class. New visual and sound effects to every single Dragon Knight ability. Okay. We'll test those on BTS. Update animations for the following Dragon Knight abilities. Some of these are completely new, while others are polish to existing animations. Dragon Knight standards and its morphs. Lava Whip and its morphs, including the specialized versions that make you do a sick flip. Oh, that's about the Paula's. When's BTS? On 12th, Monday, yep. Steering Claw and its morphs, they also now alternate from right and left variant as you cast the ability. Okay. Core Flame, originally Inhale and morphs. Heartfire, originally Ashcloud and morphs. Inferno and morphs. Dragon Leap, so basically everything gets a animation, like different animation change. Ingolfin Dragonfire morph also gets a special variant animation to denote the spicy morph change. Okay. Talons, Dragon Blood, get pumped full of blood. The animation on Dragon Blood was always kinda weird. It just turned you transparent basically. It was a bit weird. Wing Buffet. Get the foot chokes. Sense of Flame and its morphs. Sense of Devastation morph also gets a fancy, unique animation to differentiate it. Okay. That's the gap close one. Magma Armor and its morphs. Superheated Ward, original Stone Fist and its morphs. Also applies a unique weapon appearance for the caster that looks absolutely fire. Oh, that could be cool. But hopefully they make the ability worth using. Same with Obsidian Shield. Like mentioned on the tier list. Add cool new flavor text to all of the passive abilities in the Dragon Knight skill lines. They did that with Arcanist. By the way, they have a flavor text. Yeah, Pets, how you doing? Remade many Dragon Knight abilities to better align with their functionality and overall lore. Okay. All sorts of poison damage have been updated to flame damage in the Dragon Knight kit. Wait. What? These changes were made to better focus on the core fantasy of the Dragon Knight, where many affixes didn't work, synergize, or coherently mess with poison across the entire kit. Oh. We'll be reintroducing poison damage elsewhere in the game with other class refreshes, where it fits into the overall theme of said class rather than being tacked on. Nightblade. Clip it, save it. Nightblade is getting poison damage. Poor scavenging? Yeah, fuck you, Zos. Why target my builds in particular? Just targeted nerf. God damn it. I have to rework a little bit. My poor scavenging DK. They saw me get 50 KDR and they thought, okay, this guy needs a nerf, we're gonna fuck this build up. But little do they know that I was stuck on that character because it didn't have streak and it wasn't the best one to do the challenge with. Oh well. No more poison. That means they probably changed combustion passive to only increase fire damage. Enjoy the new Dragon Knight animations and effects. Specific Dragon Knight ability changes. For update 49, we made the following changes to Dragon Knight skill lines and abilities. These details are typically found in the patch notes, but we wanted to delve a little deeper and share more of our thoughts surrounding each change with you. Okay, here we go. Get to the meteor part of the post. Dragon Knight Standard. This ultimate and the Standard of Might morph no longer deal damage to enemies inside or apply major defile. Ooh. They saw Marka dueling. And they thought, okay, this needs a nerf. That is what happened. Instead, this ultimate grants you and up to 11 allies standing in the area increased weapon spell damage 275, it's a lot, and reduced damage taken 12%. This effect cannot stack. That's so far this is a nerf. We didn't read the morphs yet, but so far this is a nerf. No damage, no major defile. For a PvP this is a nerf. For a PvE it's probably a buff. It's a big buff actually. Group buff. This morph significantly increased these bonuses for the caster of the ultimate. Adds 125 weapon spell damage. It's 15% damage right now. They removed that. Keep that in mind. It's 15% damage taken reduction in the area. So you lose personal damage from a Standard of Might in PvE as well. But you buff your team. So everyone gets 375. And the Standard doesn't move. Keep that in mind. So it's in PvP it's not gonna make a difference. But what about the shifting Standard? My voice is fucked. Shifting Standard. This morph continues to work as originally designed, dealing damage and applying major defile. Oh, never mind. They didn't see Marka dueling. Okay. All good, all good. I don't think it's broken, by the way. It's fine. It's a good skill. Doesn't need a nerf, doesn't need a buff. That's good. Kind of. I'm gonna change my PvE build anyway to Templar. So I don't mind that. It would be a nerf to it though. Or the current one I play. Lava Whip. This ability now becomes Volcanic Whip for 7.9 seconds after it damages an off-balanced enemy. The time window activation can occur only once every 20 seconds. I don't like the off-balance condition. It's just very clunky in PvP. Unless they added some better ways to apply off-balance for decay. you have to like short board back bar with the scribe, or run some like shock wall to reliably apply off balance, or run 2 spammables with dizzy swing and when whip, which is weird. Not a huge fan of the lava whip at the moment, but I mentioned this on the tier list. The time window activation can occur only once every 20 seconds, costs half as much, deals 33.3% more damage. That's Molten Whip is 60% right now, so it's a little bit less than Molten Whip. And I assume it doesn't give weapon spell damage. Deals damage in 5-meter radius around the original target. Oh shit. Okay, that could be kinda good in PGs then, if you hit off-balance target, but you need a way to apply off-balance. Maybe you could run something like the Dovalt Scribe, if they nerf Fossilize, from what I've heard in chat. I will read everything, but just theorizing ahead of time. It also needs to be AoE off balance in group fights, because otherwise like the targeting is just gonna fuck you up and you don't get the AoE. Balance later, okay. This change was made to help introduce the Flameless Morph gameplay element sooner, while also making the window of interaction with off-balance less restrictive. You now get a guaranteed window of time after hitting the off-balance target, rather than being forced to drop everything you're doing while off-balance is active. Wait, hold on. Because right now how it works is that you hit an off-balance target and you turn your whip into powerless. So how is this gonna be any different? You have to damage an off-balance target with the whip. How is this any different? I don't understand it. This ability is no longer set immobilized or stunned enemies off balance. Sourced off balance on a new passive. Oh, it's on a passive. Okay, interesting. Interesting. That's huge for heavy attack builds, if you have a passive off balance. Very interesting. Lovely, I know, right? My shock creature is gonna be happy. The Hassan build. Flameless. This morph now heals you and heals you anytime the ability deals damage, rather than only when powerless version is active. Oh, this is the base morph. Hold on. I didn't even realize. I thought we were talking about the lava whip. Flameless. This is the base morph. So they buff the base morph a lot. What does Flameless do? So it heals you, kind of like it does right now. But then only when powerless version is active. Morph sees the same changes to activating powerless as the base ability does. Okay, so they don't really change Flameless. It's kinda... Oh, they do actually, because it heals anytime, not just when the extra damage is active, but you get a heal from the like non-off-balance proc hits as well. That's a big buff actually. But they probably nerfed the heal. I would be very surprised if the heal is a burst heal on BTS. If it is, then everyone's gonna run this. If you burst heal and use a spammable at the same time, then that's kinda broken, right? So they probably nerfed the heal. Molten Whip. This morph continues to rework the ability into a more self-contained building effect. Focused on high single target burst damage. Okay, so kinda like it is right now. Remains split in cost of magic and stamina, but now generates stacks when using any Dragonite ability other than itself, instead of only building of Ardent Flame abilities. That's a good change. It's a very good change, I think. This should make the build-up more rewarding while using a more Dragonite ability heavy rotation and feeling more organic and rhythmic to use. Adjusted the stack bonus to 33% per stack, up from 20%. Reduce the duration to 10 seconds. That's a huge buff. If it gives the same tulip, this is gonna hit about as hard as a bow proc. But with less time to dodge solid. That's kinda broken, I think, potentially. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know about buffing the damage, but maybe it's fine if they change the passives. half the kit seems kind of broken. Yeah, I mean, only read a little bit and it already feels like some giga buffs incoming. Racy, how you doing? Hello, hello. Heal is over 2 seconds. Isn't it? It's an instant heal at the moment. They changed that. It used to be heal over time, but they changed to instant heal. Like couple of years ago, or year or two ago, I think. Projectile bow proc, kinda, yeah. It's a 40% buff to an already pretty high totem. Okay, Searing Strike. Its ability and smokes now last for 10 seconds, down from 20 seconds. Deal 50% more damage per second to make up for the shorter duration. Holy shit. That's a big buff. That's a big buff. This morph has been reworked to Searing Claw, which deals flame damage instead of poison damage. Remains a stamina morph that increases damage per tick, which has been increased to match the same power increase with the shorter duration. Okay, so the elastics are gonna be like a spammable with this. More or less. That's crazy. Embers. Heal from this morph now scales off max health. Rather than damage done. To offer a more helpful tool for tanks to gain some staying power in combat. Okay, this is one of those things that's gonna depend on the value. How much of max health per tick? Can you still apply it to multiple targets? Like, this could be very broken on tank depending on the values. Because Burning Embers, you can apply it to multiple targets and you get multiple heal ticks. It's one of the best things about it. If you're outnumbered. It requires a lot of micromanagement, but the heal could be a lot stronger with max health. And you kind of want to build max health if you want to go brawler or a tank, usually. It's Relican where you can slot Searing Claw, but that's -1 skill slot. Always gotta keep that in mind. Core Flame. This ability and morphs no longer deal damage instantly or heal for the damage cost. So this is Inhale. This abilities now restore 15% of your missing magic and stamina 3 times over 4 seconds. What? %15 of your missing, so you just get back 45% of your missing magic and stamina. So if you have 30k, then you get back 15k over 4 seconds. That's like the most broken sustain skill in the game. Or am I missing something? They continue to deal damage around you after the duration ends. But there's a cost, right? There's a magic cost to the ability. So you probably don't get the magicka back, but you get the stamina back still. Still broken. Soul Flame, this morph continues, that's the base morph by the way. Continues to add an interrupt on the initial activation, but now interrupts after a 350 millisecond delay instead of instantly. For better visual syncing and counterplay. Okay, who cares about interrupt though? If you're casting an interruptible ability in the face of someone who's in melee range, you can just bash it. This is inconsequential. So this is I don't know about this one. Just wasted development time. Why do you need counterplay to bad play in the first place? This morph also continues to increase the damage of the explosion, which has increased to a 33% bonus up from 25%. Okay, but you don't have initial damage. But it is kinda broken for sustain now. DK Monoclass seems so broken. What's up, Akku? Yeah, this seems like some giga buffs so far. Missing magic and stamina though. Oh, right, it's kinda like, you're right. You have to be actually missing that, the resources. You have to be low resources to get good value. But even if you're 15%, like let's say, or 50%, let's say you're 50% stam and you have 30k. So you're missing 15k. You get 2.2k per second. Or 3 times over 4 seconds. Oops. 250. Although you get less as you get more resources. But you still get a lot though. You guys can be broken. What's up, America? Yeah, these are some crazy buffs so far. We've only read the Ardent Flame so far. So you get a little bit more damage on the last explosion. You could still use it as a delayed burst, but it's polymorph as sustain skill. Smooth now heals you for 15% of your missing health each tick. Longer adds magic when damaging enemies. That the function of resource recovery is now part of the base ability. Oh, okay, let's make it a heal as well. So if you're missing 20k health, it's okay, it's not a lot, it's like 3k heal. I don't know, it's just a sustain skill now, but potentially kinda good sustain skill. You know what this allows you to do? So you have full control over the stamina, basically. You can turn your excess stamina into survivability with dodge souls or blocking. And if you're spamming burst heals, you're really draining your magic as well. So if you drop both low to like 30%, and then you use this, or use the one that heals you as well, while blocking, for example, you just go back to... You don't go to full resources, but you recover a lot of resources. So this could be kind of good. The problem is that it needs a target, right? So there's contemplate this. Unless this is separate from the damage. Reading this, it seems like it's separate from the damage, so you don't need to actually... Yeah, because there's not even any instant damage. Oof. Yeah, I think this can be very strong for sustain. FK DK builds with the Rel Empire getting buffed? I think they will, because I've seen some other stuff. I've seen one thing so far, apart from these ones, that was linked to me, and yeah, it's gonna be kind of broken. 15% missing, so missing 15k over 3-4 seconds, 5 to 750 per second. Yeah, what's bad, Jacob? It kind of depends on your like max stats overall. If you build low max health and high max stam or magic, you do something like maybe Tsuga Skulls, you get huge value out of that, potentially. You could permablock with this skill. Like, you could use just for the stam sustain. If you drop, like, you can be holding block, you drop to 50% stam, you use this ability, and you're not dropping below 50% stam anymore. So we have another option to siphon attacks for a permablock. Or Restoring Light and Dark Deal, the secret deck. There's another alternative now. Interesting. That's not a bad thing, by the way, I think. Like, just ignore everything else. Like, if everything else is OP, you should change it, but I think they should keep this. So the game needs more block builds. And yes, like, if you go back like a year or two, you could rightfully ask, like, what the fuck are you smoking? If I said that. But right now, I think the game needs more block builds because of all the fucking Boproc candies. Like, all the burst builds. Because blocking is a very good content to win. And maybe we would see less Boprocs. Does it need more block builds? I think it does. Like, right now, like, that would get rid of some other undesirables. And then people would maybe stop playing block builds, but rock, paper, scissors, right? It's just too many scissors in the form of Boprocs right now. And then, of course, there needs to be a like good counters to the block builds. Bloodfire. This ability in the original Cinderstorm morph now grant minor fortitude and heroism to allies inside the area. Oh, okay. Rather than slowing enemies' movement speed by 70%. Increase the radius to 8 meters. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. This is what I said on my tier list. increase the radius. And they do it. Good, good. So you have a little bit more room to work with Cinderstorm. It's not just a drop it and gambit dueling ability, perhaps. You could use this and maybe Cauterize on DK Healer now. Heroism also, thank you, saving my gold. Much appreciated. Minor Fortitude, health reason is kind of whatever, but it's a nice extra. Firekeeper or Cinderstorm. This mob continues to increase the healing effectiveness by 50%, but now only does so if the caster is inside the area of effect. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. So you can't like stay far away and drop it on your allies and do giga heals. You still do some healing, but you can buff it if you stand inside of it. To make up for this, however, it also causes Minor Fortitude and Heroism to stick to allies for 15 seconds after being healed. So this is a good healer ability. Interesting. Very interesting. Heart and Home, originally Eruption. This move no longer reworks the ability into a damaging effect and instead remains a healing effect. Okay. My idea was that the instant damage could not have a cooldown, and it could be like a unique way of a ranged AoE skill that has a like cost every 2 seconds, and you could kind of spam it. But this is also fine if they just want to rework it. This move continues to reduce enemy movement speed inside the area by 70%. This move now also grants the caster major protection while inside the area to help ability be more valuable to tanks. Yeah, or you can just run Monomyth. So this move is kinda whatever. You lose the snare, but... Oh, this is also 8 meter radius, so the snare is a lot more valuable. Maybe you could play some... You get less healing, but you get major protection, and... you get a giga snare in the area. Interesting. I don't know which one I would pick. Maybe you make some non-Monomyth build, get major protection from this. But I don't think that's even the strongest part about this. I don't think the heal even is the strongest part about this. If the radius is 8 meters, and you have like 70% snare in the area. 70% is ridiculously good. I think they did a good job balancing Cinderstorm. Inferno. This ability and the Flames of Oblivion move now fire a massive wave of flame in an 8 meter radius. What the heck? Then firing a limited number of fireballs to enemies in 50 meter radius. This removes the original target cap of the abilities. Increase the cost to 4050 per activation from 2160 to account for the new area melting potential. I don't know about this though. Reduce the chance of applying burning stage effect to 5% down from 10% to account for these changes. Is it still gonna fire every 5 seconds, or is it just like you click and it fires like an AoE? Incinerate, originally Flames of Oblivion. This move now deals 10% more damage and has 15% base chance of applying burning. Now that the move can no longer increase the target count. And Cauterize is... what about Cauterize? They don't talk about Cauterize here. Yeah, this sounds like a nerf to Flames of Oblivion. I don't know if it needed that. Like, it is a really good skill. It's a really good... I think it was in S tier in my tier list. So, like, theoretically you could say, like, oh, it's too strong, nerf it, but I would rather see buffs to things that are weak than nerfs to things that are fine, or that are strong even. Hey, Strepsils, how you doing? Yeah, it sounds like just an AoE when you cast it, rather than some buff that you cast and you get healing or delayed burst. Cauterize stays the same, I think. Yeah, we might see a lot more people run Cauterize, if that's the case. Depends on the damage of the AoE, of course. It is an 8 meter radius AoE, so you can actually use it. I would assume it still gives crit chance, yeah. What's a buff? Are you doing? I think there's still crit chance, but it's not like a buff that just does damage automatically. That makes it a lot weaker. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's OP. Depends on the damage. Combustion. This passive now grants you 112 magic and stamina at rank 1 and 225 at rank 2 when applying burning with an ardent flame ability slotted. Oh, okay. So you need to have a... I mean, that's not too difficult. With a 1 second cooldown. That's if you apply burning every second, that's 450 mag regen. Mag and stam regen. I think it's more than at the moment, right? Because there's a... if I'm not mistaken, this is a slight buff. Oh, it says here, 211 magic and stamina at rank 1 and with a 3 second cooldown. Yeah, so it is a buff, basically. Cooldown's down to 1 second. Or well, not always a buff, you need to be very active. Have like a lot of dots up or do a lot of AoE damage to apply burning every second. Maybe it's less to stay most of the time. Passive no longer increase the damage of damage done by burning or poisoned. Burning path has moved to a different passive and has been improved. Okay. I don't know if it needs to be improved, but I mean it does if they remove poison, right? Kind of. Sorry, side questions. Is there still major toughness at all in the game? Having no sleep brain fight. No, there's no major toughness. Only minor toughness, which you can get from Warrior board set or from the Warden passive in Green Balance. Traumatic Burns, originally warmed. This passive now causes enemies you've damaged with a direct ardent flame ability to take 5% increased flame damage while reducing their movement speed by 15% at rank 1, 30% at rank 2 for 5 seconds. Oh, okay, so it's no longer dot damage, it's just increased flame damage. Interesting. Very interesting. So it buffs the whip damage as well. That's a buff. That's, I think, overall a buff. It's now where old Engulfing Flames effect lives and should be easy to keep up. Yeah, if it's on a passive, of course it's easy to keep up. You won't run Engulfing Flames in PvP usually. Like, the Noxus is just way, way, way better as a morph. Phantom Flames, originally Searing Heat. Passive now increase your chance of applying burning by 25% at rank 1 and 50% at rank 2. And the damage it does by 12% at rank 1 and 25% at rank 2. How is this a... I mean, I guess it's a buff. I mean, it depends on how you calculate this. Is it 50% on the existing... it probably is, right? It's 50% on the existing... like, let's say, single target dot, so you have 3%, right? So you get 50%, 4.5%, and then it's additive with chars, then... I don't know if this... it is probably a small buff still, but... You lose a little bit of damage. It used to be 30% on the damage part. 5% at rank 2 per... Oh! Oh, this value is increased by 5% at rank 1 and 10% at rank 2. 2% at rank 1, 5% at rank 2. Oh, the damage also increases. Oh! Never mind, that's a buff. Lowering extends the duration of or damage of some of your ardent flame abilities. Holy shit. So you can have... you can just do giga damage with burning. So if you have 5 DK abilities, that's another 25%. You get 50% more damage with burning. Interesting, interesting. Long extends the duration, that's whatever. Also plus 10% proc sense, but that's kind of whatever. It's additive. It's nice though. It's a nice little buff. It's kind of like the Warden passive for chill damage, just for burning on DK. I like the design. Solo plays Originally Burning Heart. This passive now increases healing taken at all times by 4% at rank 1, 8% at rank 2, rather than 4 and 9 when meeting certain conditions. Okay, I mean... Previously you need to have a Draconic Power ability active to get this healing, but you would pretty much always have that from the armor buff. But it's on a better skill line now, and it is always active, so I think overall this is probably a buff. So you get 8% healing. This is a pretty solid skill line after the changes, I'd say. Do you even need to run the other DK skill lines? You run this and subclass, for example. Because what do you need? Do you have... you probably want to run other skill lines, actually. You would run probably like Cinderstorm, Cauterize for survivability. The Searing Claw and Whip. You could have almost like full DK skill line bar, but you probably want to run the heals on the back bar, so you still need some other DK skill line with fire damage and just maxing out the passives. Hey Onion, how you doing? But yeah, they're definitely leaning into the class identity here. I like that. So far, this has exceeded my expectations, which is rare. Draconic Power, Dragon Leap. We rebuilt how this ability handles the movement aspect under the hood and to be more modern, fixing numerous inconsistencies compared to other movement abilities and unique bug cases. I wonder if they fixed the very good streak after DK cap loss, because the reason they have the snare, the 99% snare, when someone leaps you, is because it's an AoE on the location you landed. If people were moving fast, you could miss your leaps. So that's why they added the 99% snare, but you could still shriek right before or at the same time DK leaps, and you would dodge the leap with the shriek. I wonder if they fixed that. Fixed numerous issues with the knockback being desynced from the actual damage impact. That was also a thing, which would also make it easier to counteract the CC effect as an opponent. This ability and the Take Flight morph now deal flame damage rather than physical damage. Reduce the damage of the base ability by 16% to account for the damage change, as there are numerous ways to amplify this effect back to similar or higher values. Okay. Take Flight. This morph now fills you with Draconic Fury for 15 seconds after activation, which increases your damage done by 10%, doubles against monsters. Ooh, it's like half of Incap, but for 15 seconds. Interesting, interesting. Move no longer extends the range or reduces the cost. It's the same as Major Berserk, but stacks with Major Berserk. Extends the range or reduces the cost. We decrease the base damage by 19% to account for other potential damage increase. Okay, I think this needs to be tested on BTS. Not for one target, but yeah, so it's kinda closer to Northern Storm, I guess. Except Northern Storm gives you 18% damage for, was it like 9 seconds after it stacks up? But this is instant, you don't need to stack it up. It's a little different. Right, question does where you can find the Crown Crate rotation history. Oh, maybe someone can link in chat. If anyone knows that. Everything is a bit, yes, always. Ferocious Sleep. This morph now instantly applies the damage cell for 10 seconds instead of applying it after delay for 6 seconds. I mean, this is like very often you would die after you leap if you like die mid-air, for example. Like not very often, but sometimes. So this is a small buff, right? Increase the potency by 4%. It's already a very strong shield. It's like 100% of your max health. Morph now knocks enemies up rather than away to make it more tank friendly, so they can control the fight rather than disrupt it. Okay. Depending on the feedback, we may make this change to crowd control a universal one, as there's value in many cases to have it be less disruptive. The only reason we haven't so far is because it takes away some of that balanced feeling of crashing down like a dragon and pushing foes back in all directions. Let us know your thoughts. I don't think it's a good thing. I don't think they should do it to everything. Maybe some abilities, yes, you could have a knock up where they don't get knocked back, but having knockbacks is still good as a kiting tool on things like the Javelin Morph and Trample and like other stuff. It's nice to have the option to push people away. So I don't think they should do that on everything. Don't think that should be a thing. Dragonfire Breath, originally Fire Breath. Decrease the duration to 10 seconds down from 20 seconds, increase the damage per second by 50%. This ability is now a stamina ability at this base. Okay. Disintegrating Dragonfire, originally Noxious Breath. This move now deals flame damage rather than poison damage, remains a stamina ability and continues to add major bleeds while applying the respective status effect, now burning, to all enemies affected by the initial hit. This is a nerf. This is a nerf because you don't have execute modifier on burning, which means that if you use it in execute, or when people are below 50% health, you don't do as much damage. And also you have a lot of other sources of burning. So overall this is a nerf. Which I'm not too happy about, but I understand why they're doing it. They want DK to be the fire class and be all about fire damage. That's fine. That's fine. Engulfing Dragonfire, originally Engulfing Flames. This morph is now the Rework morph, which costs Magicka instead of stamina. This morph now channels the flame attack in front of you over 4.8 seconds and deals 20% increased damage when it hits an enemy. Up to once every second, up to a maximum of 80%. When Take Flight is active, this deals maximum damage. Damage is considered dark damage. So the dark damage you deal in front of you for 4.8, but it's a channel. Is it that channel that you have to actually channel, or do you cast it and you can do other things? Need to test this. This could be like delayed, kind of like delayed burst. Kind of. Being called a Dragon Knight, the class has always been missing the most iconic feeling of being a dragon, unleashing an unabated flame upon their foes with a channeled flame breath. We also realized that many of our players have expressed the desire to enjoy the game at a slower pace, and as we've introduced similar attacks into high levels of play with heavy tech builds and Fate Carver, we want to make sure there are more flavors to this experience. Oh boy. Each with their own distinctions in how you build and play. So is this the DK Beam? Are we getting DK Beam that you can combo with Leap? And is it going to be as Garbo as Beam in PvP? These are the questions. What is the radius of the Fire Breath? Is it going to be like some fucking water gun squirt thing, like that's not going to hit anything, or is it going to be an actual Fire Breath? Remains to be seen. Smurf now won't be bringing the same heat as either of those builds alone, but it should help take some pressure off constantly needing to press down the gas pedal buttons. Okay. I mean, we'll have to test it out. Hey, Dirum, how you doing? Nixo, hello. Damage Beam, like Arcanist Healing Beam, which also gets stronger the longer channel in. Yeah, but if it sounds like it's a channel, so it is probably bad for PvP. Test channels, so it's probably not like you click it and you can do other things, but we'll see. Doesn't sound super strong. Dark Talons, okay, let's see. No major changes to note outside of patch notes. This one just looks cooler and should look a little less buggy when used against immobilized immune targets. And it's still not going to be used. It's still not going to be used, so... Why? Because it's 6 meters. Why is Talons 6 meter AoE? Can anyone explain that to me? Why is Talons a 6 meter AoE when you apply, like you introduce scribing and you have 8 meters on contingency, you have 8 meters on soul burst. These are actual good routes and people actually use them. This is dog shit. They still use fucking dog shit and they do nothing to it. And the other morph is even worse. I mentioned this in my tier list. Joking Talons is F tier ability, is one of the worst fucking things in the game. Why do you not rework it? Why leave the worst abilities alone? This is one of the abilities that are in most need of a rework. And instead, like, they rework the abilities that people already use. That makes no sense at all. Brockman, how you doing? Give every class an Arcanist Beam, ain't they? It seems like it, or something similar. That's their way of balancing PV, I guess. Devil Soul, how you doing? Increase the radius. They said no major change outside of patch notes. mentioned this it's not a major function wise. Well, we can hope for that, but it really should be 8 meters. Joking Talons could be 12 meters and most people still won't run it. It does nothing. Can be doxed anyway with everyone on a banner traders. Well, it's been good for Plague Break. Yeah, but even then, like, many better ways for Plague Break. Many better ways to get value out of that. In solo play, always run Soul Burst. Dragon Blood. This ability and the Green Dragon Blood morph now heal based on your max health. Increase based on your missing health. Rather than scaling exclusively of your missing health. Interesting. Do we get a DK Pollament? I wouldn't mind that. You have to compare this ability to Pollament, and keep in mind that Pollament heals one additional target as well. Should make them more reliable and comparable to other self-heals. Well, we're gonna compare this to Pollament on BTS, and if it's not as good as Pollament, they have failed. It's still different because it's healing based on missing health afterwards, right? Increase based on missing health. So it should be stronger than Pollament if you heal at low health. Because it has no heal over time. Unless they keep that, like it has some small heal over time, right? But because it's a heal that is very, like, reactionary, you drop low health, you click this, you get good value. It should be stronger at that point than Pollament. Still be weaker at higher health though, compared to other abilities. Okay, yes, this should be the trade-off. This should be the trade-off. Blood of the Green Dragon, original Green Dragon Blood. This mob has just a slight name change. Okay, so you have a heal of time on it. Blood of the Elder Dragon, originally Quag. Continues to change the heal scaling to offensive stats. Okay. Now also heals allies within 10 meters of you for 2/3 of the original scaling. Okay. I mean, this could be really good for DK healer then. If you build a stat-based healer, not a max health healer. Also grants minor courage and major fortitude to any healed target. Okay. Instead of just major fortitude to you. Support builds may like this one. Yes, I think you have a good DK heal with this potentially. You always heal yourself, that's important. Interesting. Interesting. Wing Buffet, originally protective scale. This ability and the protective plate morph now knock enemies back within 6 meters of you, 4 meters after a slight delay. So delayed CC, delayed knockback. How much is the delay? The abilities continue to reduce your damage taken from ranged and projectile attacks by 50% for 6 seconds after activating. These abilities now grant Major Expedition, moved from Fire Grip for 4 seconds after activating as well. Let those wings unfurl. It depends on the delay on the CC. Like, if you can use this as a delayed CC, then I can see this being useful. Like, CC plus 50% projectile damage reduction, you can use this as a, like, anti-bowproc ability as well. Kind of. It's an AoE knockback as well. 6 meters is not a lot of radius though. Should be 8, I think. Maybe one of the morphs has a radius increase. Morph just has a name change. You have to think of like Arctic. Arctic is also 6 meters. But Arctic does a lot more over its whole duration than just the CC. Has the dark damage when you cast it, really good pressure. So if it's similar to Arctic, maybe you can use this. Maybe. Reach Wings, original protective plate is the snare and root removal. Just as a name change. Okay. So you have a CC, snare and root removal, 50% damage reduction, and major expedition. Yeah, I think this ability is good. I think it's good. Compare this to Race Against Time. Race Against Time, major expedition, snare and root removal, right? That's it. And minor force, which is very easy to get nowadays. This one is also a CC and 50% projectile damage reduction. This is just a better Race Against Time. Interesting. Can see some ways to use them. Hey, Xander Hayden. Protect the Brood, originally Dragonfire scale. This morph has been reworked to be a support morph. Normally deals flame damage back to attackers while active and sacrifices the new area knockback on activation. This morph now grants group members within 12 meters. I actually saw this was linked to me. 25% reduced damage taken from projectiles for 6 seconds and adds minor protection for 20 seconds to you and group members affected. Continues to grant you major expression as well. This effect cannot stack with itself or any other version of the range damage reduction. Okay, this is what I was thinking about. You can stack it with the other one, have a DK group that has 75% range damage reduction. But yeah, this is a group, this is like another bulk group buff, basically. It buffs 11 other people, right? Or does it have no cap at all? Just everyone within 12 meters? I don't like this. I don't think we need more bulk group buffs. Nuke? I don't know what nuke is, but don't do anything that is not a good thing for the stream. Chains of Flame, originally Fiery Grip. Ability and morphs damage now always applies burning. Okay, it's kind of what I was talking about in my tier list. There should be some dot attached. Burning is fine, especially since now it gives you sustain as well. Always applies burning for more synergistic gameplay with other parts of the Dragonite kit. We added a new special sound effect to the act of successfully pulling enemies, helping dial up the satisfaction of controlling your foes. Simply and the Unraveling Grip morph now apply a major coverage for 10 seconds to the enemy, rather than granting you major expedition. That's a buff. That is just a buff. You don't need major expedition after you pull someone. It's kind of pointless. Plus you have the wings for that now, right? So this is the base morph. This is the base morph. Overall, pretty good buff for the Boral deck I have. Major coverage, and we continue to run the Far Strider with that, so reduce the crit resistance of the target. You can Giga debuff people that you pull. Change of Domination, originally Unrelenting Grip. Increase the duration of major coverage to 15 seconds to match stone timers. Continues to refund the ability if the target is not pulled. Okay. This is kind of like not a huge change really, like small buff I guess when you morph it, but doesn't make a huge difference. The cost reduction is one of the reasons why you can run the pull in PvP. People can be CC immune and you can still cast the ability for range damage, right? And now it's also going to apply major coverage. So overall, pretty good buff. Change of Devastation. This morph now grants major evasion for 10 seconds after activating to help you shrug off some of the damage you may receive for diving headfirst into combat. Okay. Increase the duration of the major berserk to 6 seconds up from 4 to help it be more worthwhile to use in a rotation. Note that this with the burning application helps it do notably more damage, so beware the Dragonite who pulls themselves to you. Okay, so that's a pretty solid buff, I'd say, to Chain Pull. It's already one of the strongest gap closers in the game. Now it can also be a major evasion. If you run this with, I mean, you pretty much cast it once within 10 seconds usually, so it should be pretty good major evasion uptime. Interesting, interesting, and 50% increase on the major berserk uptime that you have. Pretty solid buff. Burnish Scales, originally Iron Skin. Passive has just a name change, okay, so you still get the block mitigation there. Welding Ruin. Passive now increase your damage done with area and over time attacks by 3% at rank 1 and 7% at rank 2. Rather than increasing your flame and poison damage by 2 and 5% at rank 2. Okay, so that applies to Leap, it applies to the new Engulfing Flames, I guess. Quite a few things. It's even more burning damage. Burning's gonna hit like a truck on DK. Goddamn. Applies twice to AoE dots could be fun. Yeah, I don't think it does, but worth testing. Could be kind of ridiculous. Elder Dragon. Special now increase your health recovery by up to 350 at rank 1, 700 at rank 2 based on your missing health. Oh, I see. It's probably still a buff though, because you don't need to slot the Draconic Power abilities. Turn 23 at rank 2 per yeah, but you could have a lot from that. Potentially. Special now also grants you an... Oh, okay. Now grants you and nearby group members minor brutality for 20 seconds. So this is from moved from Earthenheart to Draconic Power. So far Draconic Power is getting some giga buffs. I'm happy about that. It's the weakest skill line at the moment for PP. Definitely needs buffs. Moved from what was originally Mountain's Blessing. Okay. Storm Voice, originally Battle Roar. This passive now grants you 8 health Okay, so Battle Roar's also in Draconic Power. They turned Draconic Power from like the weakest skill line to the strongest one. Interesting. Now grants you 8 health, magic and stamina per ultimate spent at rank 1 and 16 at rank 2. Did they nerf it though? Wait. 16 at rank 2, plus 3 to these values per drag. Oh, okay. No, it's buffed overall, I think. Or is it? No, it's not buffed. Oh, 6 at rank 2, so if you have... you would need a lot of DK abilities, but you can have a lot of DK abilities now. So they have it, but if you have 3 DK abilities, it's equal to how it was. You can have slightly more sustain from all this, I think. Subclass is a big nerf. Yeah, I like that. It's a good change. Should make this passive relatively effective for any who obtain it, while being even more effective for those who go all in to the Dragonite experience. It will be a buff at 3 or more Dragonite abilities, while being weaker at less than 3. Okay. Kinda what we just calculated actually. A gross thread. Interesting. Some nice changes to Draconic Power. Earthenheart. Magma Armor. I was linked this earlier, so I kind of know what to expect. Spoilers. We increased the base duration to 12 to 15 seconds. Oh, okay, I didn't see this part. What the fuck? Magma Cell Morph of this ultimate and the Magma Cell Morph. Oh, but not corrosive. Okay. Up from 7 to 10 seconds, but remove the flame damage on both of these versions. This means these effects will no longer scale with the Elfbane item set. Okay. Magma Cell. This is the weaker morph. Increase the radius of the shield granted to 28 meters. Yes, this is what I talked about on my tier list. The shield was like 6 meter area around you, or 8 meters, so it never actually buffed your teammates. More allies actually get the shield. Increase the shield size to 130, 133 of the target's max health, up from 100%. It's a pretty solid shield. It's a pretty solid shield, but I don't think it's gonna compete with Gibbering. Although you do get the damage reduction still. You still cap your damage taken to 3% of your max health. So this could be an option also for DK Healer as an ultimate. If you can spam Magma Cell somehow. It has more duration, but you still block your ulti gen. So now you also give your teammates shields and you just become really tanky as a healer, right? Interesting change. It is a buff. It is still a buff. Corrosive Armor. This morph now deals flame damage instead of poison damage. This means the effect can now scale with Elfbane. Okay, but Elfbane is still... I won't run Elfbane even after this. Base duration remains 10 seconds. They changed the passive, right? There's no duration increase from passives. So you only have 10 seconds now. Increase the damage per tick by 300%. This should make it kind of like Northern Storm around you, by the way. And the damage also benefits from your corrosive itself, so this is gonna hit really hard. This morph continues to cause you to ignore enemy armor while active, but now affects all damaging attacks instead of your dark damage. So for Acuity Koro DK, this is not gonna change too much. Most of your damage was direct damage because the build was optimized that way. But for like the Stam DK that I have, which had Noxus Breath, which had Venomous Claw, which had Venom Arrow for the Major Brutality and Sorcery, this is a ridiculously big buff. Those dots will just absolutely melt people. You can apply Venom Arrow and then just... I guess Noxus is not going to be run anymore. We gotta change that to something else, but... The Venomous Claw also is just buffed. The base damage is buffed. The last ticks of Venomous Claw, if you have Corrosive up, are just gonna absolutely melt people. DK pops Koro and you die. Yeah, also gonna buff Firebrand damage, by the way. Firebrand, fucking Relican, You run Pyre and Relic and you pop Koro. Your opponent's just dead. They're just dead. Or you can run something like San and get full pen on San. On the last tick of San. Good luck surviving that. I think this is kinda broken. And I'm not a big fan of this Saints. I was hoping for something different. I was hoping they kept Koro as it was. And maybe changed Magma Cell to give pen to dots and not direct matters, but only dots. Sorkraut, how you doing? DK's so back. DK might be a little bit too back. It might be a little bit too back after these senders. And I don't like the design here because we're gonna continue reading here. To account for these massive power buffs, the damage limit has been adjusted to 8% of your max health rather than 3%, causing you to take significantly more damage while the ultimate is active. So what does this mean? Nothing in duels, everything in open world in BGs. There's gonna be a lot less cases where you can just run in and pop Koro and have an offensive window if you have the weaker team in a BG, if you wanna just dive in and do some damage. There's gonna be less cases where you can do that, because you take more than twice the damage in Koro. You need to either double your heal over times, or play even less max health to account for this. So right now the damage you take from each attack in Koro, if you have 30k health, is max 900. After this change, the max damage you take if you have like 30k health, which is kinda basic, is 2.4k. You take full damage from every dot, you take almost full damage from every spammable. The only time you take less damage is from ultimates and things like Bow Procs. So I am not a huge fan of this. I don't think they should have balanced it this way. It didn't need more damage. The damage from Koro is absolutely fine. I don't think it needed any extra survivability either. I think it was fine. But now they're buffing the offense by ridiculous amounts and just introducing meta where you have builds that are just unsurvivable, which is gonna lower the skill cap of the game. Like it did when they buffed Bow Proc and they introduced subclassing and people had access to more damage and no one could have access to similar amounts of extra defense. Just make the game easier to play for people who don't know how to play it. I'm not a huge fan of that. So this Koro change is kinda bad. It's kinda bad. I hope they readjust this during BTS when they realize how absolutely broken it is in PvP. And how bad this change is to make the... Like what was a good defensive ulti, a lot worse one. Burst not too bad, helps against big burst. Yeah, it helps you in like duels, right? It helps you in duels, but if you dive into an enemy team in a BG and you still take in full damage from almost everything, you're still gonna die instantly. Unless you find a way to double your heals. Which you might be able to do with these changes. Like you might switch Flames of Oblivion to Cauterize, because Flames of Oblivion doesn't exist anymore. You might find a way to run Cinderstorm. With the change, with it being on the different skill lines, like there might be some ways to make up for it, but maybe you run... let's see what the other abilities do here before we judge this, but just reading this, not a huge fan. I think the damage part like is gonna be broken with the other skill lines already. And I haven't seen enough like defensive stuff to really make up for what you lose. So I'm very worried about that. Model of Hayden and Chai, hello. 99% damage whipback. Yeah, but I'm not a fan of like just giving something more damage in the current meta where damage is already too high. I'd rather see defensive buffs. Smurf always struggled to be a decent damage ultimate outside of PvP. And you buff it for PvP. Despite presenting it as an incredibly potent one. And you buff it for PvP. Huh? Am I going crazy? What am I missing? Did I miss something? It gives you penetration. You don't need penetration in PvE, because you already have full penetration from your group. And then they write here, that's always been good in PvP. they're buffing it only, like, mostly for PvP. Like, this 300% on the dot, like, that's a buff for PvE. But the main reason to run this ability in PvE, like, would be this, not the penetration. And there's better alternatives for PvE, even if you buff the damage of corrosive by 300% on the dot part. Because this penetration is useless, so they didn't buff it necessarily for PvE. Like, it's still not gonna be the PvE thing. They really missed the mark here. Going to run Goro over Leap with its 20% damage buff in PvE. 10%, but yeah. No one's gonna do that. Or even Standard as a group buff. Hey, that's life. How you doing? Long time indeed. How you been? Hello. We have some big DK news. Going over those at the moment. Hope you've been well. Bad or good news? It's mostly good news, but there's some kind of tone deaf changes. This corrosive one is one of them. There's a lot of balance for the ultimate felt counterintuitive to the class design, failing to amplify the core part of their kit, damage over time effects. So you know what they could do? They could just change the Magma Cell morph that no one uses to be about damage over time. And keep corrosive as an option for people who want to do something different. They can buff the corrosive damage or the damage over time part of it. But I don't agree with the like giga nerf to the defensive power that you got. And the giga buff to the offensive one. That's fucking terrible. Well, to compensate for making this more of a damage ultimate, we're dialing back how tanky you become while it's active. That's the best part of it. I will continue to monitor these effects. In general, seeing a Dragon Knight activate this should instill immediate fear into their enemy, but not hopelessness. Yeah, it doesn't do that. Like, you have counterplay to Goro. Now you have less counterplay. And, what? Now if you see DK go Goro, and you have a billion dots on you, you sure will feel hopelessness, because those dots will have full pen. What is the... Am I taking crazy pills here? They write one thing, and then they buff it in the complete opposite direction. Like, I'm failing to see the point here. Right now, if you see a DK go Goro, you streak away, you kite them. There's no hopelessness. There will be hopelessness after these changes. There will also be hopelessness for the DK if you want to fight outnumbered and you pop Goro. Or if you fight another DK who has giga dots, you're gonna take full damage from the dots after this change. So you will feel a lot of hopelessness whether you're playing as a DK or against the DK. So this change is just really bad. They might need to rethink this during the PTS. I really hope they do. I really hope they watch this video, which is going to be on YouTube. And I hope they rethink this approach. Because it is not... It is like the worst change so far. It makes no sense. Counterintuitive. Superheated Ward, originally Stone Fist, is now a magic ability that grants you or an ally a sizable damage shield, scaling off your max magical stamina. Increase the cost to 4590 at base. Think of this as superheating the air around your target so intensely that it prevents harm from coming through. Should help support-oriented DKs have a more direct option to protect their allies while offering something completely different from the standard burst healing effect. Okay, so it is a damage shield that you put on targets, but is it a stronger damage shield than let's say, Warding Soul? Is it a stronger damage shield than Hardened Ward? Which should be buffed, because that's it's not the one that scales based on max magical. I think that's the best comparison actually, Hardened Ward. It should be stronger than that, and then, yes, maybe it's worth shotting, but let's see what the morphs do. Volcanic Ward, originally Obsidian Shard. So this is the terrible heal that you cast on target, and it can be dodge shot, and then no heal. Adds a healing effect when the shield ends to offer some, supplementary healing to those you protect. Also reduces the next instance of damage taken by 10% from any attack. Note that ends means the following: the shield is replaced, the shield's duration runs out, or the shield breaks. Okay. Depends on the shield strength. If this was something. If this was a like hardened ward right now, it's a good ability. If it's less than hardened ward, it's a bad ability. Or depends on the healing. If the healing is strong, then it doesn't need to be as strong shield-wise as hardened ward, which should be buffed, by the way, in today's meta. Interesting. It's a buff regardless. Like this ability needs some big changes. Magma Fist, original Stone Fist. This move continues to be focused on stamina move for damage dealers at range, with some support functions behind it, but it is significantly simpler to use. This move now deals flame damage instead of physical damage, no longer splits between two distinct versions, or has a cast time. Good. That was the big complaint I had on my tier list. That was the stomp animation. It's like a weird mixture of a melee skill and a range skill, and like every third cast you would lose some offensive pressure if you tried to do range damage, because it would do a melee stomp, right? The buff has been renamed to Heat Shock, originally Stagger, lasts for 10 seconds up from 5 seconds, that's a good buff, especially for PP. Now causes enemies to take 33 more damage from all sources per stack, down from 65. Oh, so they nerfed it. No longer stuns, okay, so they nerfed it. Never mind. Never mind. I take it back. No, it's just garbage still. If they kept it the same and removed the stomp and cast time, I think it might be worth using, but that's a massive nerf. And removing the stun means that we have a less ways to use it in PvP. A lot less ways. This should rectify much of the complaints of this move. Yes, and now you introduce new ones, which rightfully deemed it clunky and difficult to manage. The duration now follows the Dragon Knight's dot timer of 10 seconds, doesn't require different range activations, and scales more effectively with the rest of their kit in general. Expect to hear some back in my day stories from tanks and DPS who lived with the previous versions in the years to come. Okay. Yeah, back in my day, the ability was worth running. That's what we'll say. Molten Weapons. This ability's morphs now cause the caster's light and heavy attacks to deal additional hit of flame damage up to once every 2 seconds. Interesting. It's kind of what I was saying it should do. I was talking about a heal, but flame damage every light and heavy, so it's going to be similar to the Arcanist weapon and spell damage buff. I treat this. Second to sticky damage over time effect in terms of number scaling, and should add some more value to the skill line for damage dealers. While it may not boast raw numbers over other specialized effects, the group utility is more than enough to make up for that warrant consideration. Hopefully it's only for yourself, right? Casters light and heavy, good. Good, because we didn't need this for the whole team, because people use this in bulk groups, for example, to just free bar space. We don't need a bulk group buff. But this is a good buff for the DK itself. You might want to run this skill now. Depending on the number, it could be broken, right? Oh, they didn't change the moves. Molten Armaments is still just the version that no one runs in PvP because of the Empower. They should have changed that. They should have changed that. Obsidian Shield. No large space changes for this one, just some number cleanup to account for the removal of the Eternal Mountain passive being reworked. Okay. Why no base changes? This ability is like the worst skill in the game, or one of the worst skills. They should definitely make a base change to this ability. Increase the shield size of the caster's version of the shield 12%. By 12%. Close to a standard self-shield ability. And no, you could buff it by fucking 50% and it wouldn't be. This ability is fucking terrible. It scales based on your max health, but the shield you get is like, it's a 3k shield with like 40k health. Hold on. absorbs 0.08 of your max health. Max health. And it's minus 50% BP, by the way. 30k health, 0.08 to 640. You get a 2.5k shield with 30k health. This is the morph that gives you a bigger shield, by the way. Oh, wait, no, this is the bigger shield. 0.2, it's still bad. I was thinking of the other morph, but... This is with 30k health. A 3k shield. I was kinda close. So you get minus 50% BP, right? How is that close to... Even if you had 50k health. Even if you had 60k health, or 50k health. It would be a 5k shield with 50k health. You never fucking pick this ability. This ability is dog shit. Like, why can't they not balance things properly here? Even if you buff it by 12%, how much is plus 12% on 5k? Oh, you get a 5.7k shield if you build entirely for max health. Cool. It's one spammable and it's gone. Or one dot tick now, and it's gone. Surely worth running, right? Pointless. No scales with the caster's max magic or stamina than max health. It's more effective for support builds. Okay. Okay. Let's see how useful that one is. If they don't buff the values. Fragmented shield. So 0.08 of your max health. Let's go 60k magicka. Or actually, no, fuck it. Let's go full meme build, 70k magicka. 0.082640. You play a complete meme build. Oh. Oh, you give people a 2.9k shield with 70k magicka. Yeah, I'm sure people will run this skill. I'm sure they will run this skill. I have to wonder sometimes if people at SOS, if they went through elementary school, if they, like, what their math grades were. Let's put it that way. I'm not a mathematician. I'm not like giga smart with maths. I was kinda bad at it at school, actually. The only reason I know some maths behind this is because of the necessity of knowing maths when it comes to making builds in ESO or other MMOs. That's the only reason I know any math. And I'm doing this because of the numbers that they introduced. And they introduced numbers that make no fucking sense. AoE shield, yes, it's an AoE shield for your group that if you build 70k magicka is 2.9k shield. Which is like one dot tick and it's gone. You could spam this ability and it would be a waste of time. It would be a complete waste of time. So even for support, it should be way stronger than that to be worth running. You can spam contingency. You can have a pretty solid tooltip on Conti, like 12k for example. You get a 6k shield for your team. Twice as good. And that's with like only 40k health. So they really need to take another look at these abilities and the numbers behind them. So they're kinda terrible. Petrify, please do not ruin my Saturn rocks. Do not do that. Ability and its morphs now have a real bona fide counterplay. Rather than instantly stunning the enemy target and ignoring both block and dodge, the ability is now reduce the enemy target's move speed for 50% for 1 second. After 1 second, the target will become stunned for 4 seconds or 8 seconds if they're a monster. Stun continues to bypass block, but does not bypass dodge. Okay, they ruined it. They ruined it. Did they not learn anything from RuneGates? How many people run RuneGates? How good of an ability is RuneGates considered to be? Even if RuneGates had a snare when you cast it, spoiler, it would not be considered a good ability. No one would run a thing that is so easily countered. This is a pointless change. Saturn Rocks was fine. Now it's dog shit. But you have an alternative to it. You're just gonna run the one from Draconic Power, the one that's also a snare and root removal, and gives you Major Expedition. You're just gonna run the knockback. You can build around dots. But that's not a reason to make an ability useless. Abilities now also apply minor breach to the... okay, so they apply a debuff that you have easy access to with an Absorb Stem Glyph. One of the easiest to apply debuffs in the game. Really? That's supposed to make up for it? I don't know about that one. Potential albeit rare PvE use case. Oh my god. No one's gonna use this in PvE. Why would you CC mobs with... I mean, at least they say albeit rare. But why would you use this in PvE? Arca-Rune with Runegate CC. Yeah, it's just terrible. Ability and the Fossilized Morph no longer deal damage when stun ends, so they remove the damage as well. Because the, like, apparently Runegate wasn't bad enough. Because it doesn't do damage. And the Arcanist CC, that's it's undodgeable. It's actually... could be good if it dealt damage, by the way. Apparently that one wasn't bad enough. Or could be decent, you can still block that bit very easily. Reduce the cost to account for these changes. You could make the cost 0 and people won't run it. This is a really bad change. It was a fun CC to use. Especially when outnumbered, because you would get a heal out of it. You would do damage, you would have a counter to people spamming dodge hole like fucking monkeys. And people who would just be perma-blocking, you had a counter to that. I mean, you can still land it on block, but people are just gonna dodge hole. They see a snare, oh, just roll. Just roll. Fossilized, this morph continues to immobilize after the stun ends. Now also applies minor vulnerability, who cares? There's another Arcanist Rune CC that no one uses. It's another dogshit ability. Saturn Rocks keeps the damage and healing on stun end. Okay, so at least you have those, but no one's gonna run this. If you can roll the stun, no one's gonna run this. Increase the amount of damage and healing done by 15% to account for the new delay. Yeah, but no one's gonna run this. Where's this song, Desi? Oh, this is from Expedition 33. It's the Lumiere team. Not happy with this. Maybe you can like spam Saturn Rocks. If someone's spamming dots, so you spam Saturn Rocks, but with all of the dots. But I don't know, it's just... You see this and people are just gonna roll, it's just gonna be annoying. You're gonna be applying your... trying to apply your CC and it's just gonna get fucking dodge sold every time. And then they heal up with their heal over times and... Hey Pride, how you doing? 28 meter, Magmine PV is nice. Is it? It's max health. I mean, it's half in PvP. You still get the, like, I was talking about that earlier. It could be used in on some healer DK, but the corrosive change is just retarded. Earthspike Mantle, originally spiked armor, so the armor buff. This ability and morphs now increase your damage done by 100 all hits while active. Oh. Rather than causing you to deal damage back to melee attackers. So you have Draukin at home. It's only 100, so it's 1/3 of Draukin. It should make the ability far more useful to damage dealers instead of being largely exclusive through ability tool. The damage done bonus may seem small, but it adds up over the course of a fight. Yeah, but not by that much. I think Draukin also kind of fell off. It kind of fell off. I don't think it's that good. If you get 1/3 of Draukin and you lose a bar slot for an armor buff that's not that special, I think most of the DKs will just be running Judan. or no armor buff at all. Shatter Spike Mantle, originally volatile armor. This mob's damage over time effect now scales with your offensive stats rather than your armor, doubling down as a viable damage option for DPS. While also helping you stay in the... I mean, depends on the numbers, we'll have to see those. Helping you stay in the fight in the front lines with the extra armor. It's just major... just major resolve, no? Or am I missing something? So when dealing damage with the effect, you add one additional stack of Avalanche up to once every 10 seconds. What was Avalanche again? Or is it... we didn't go over Avalanche yet, right? It's probably an Earthen Heart passive. I don't think we went through that one. When dealing damage with the effect, you add one additional stack of Avalanche, okay. Up to once every 10 seconds. Right, so not super useful, I suppose. Depends. Should help slightly expedite the time it takes to reach max stacks. Heart of Stone, originally scaled armor. Wait, what about... so they didn't change hardened armor, it still gives you a decent damage shield? But they buffed volatile. Okay. Heart of Stone, original scaled armor. This passive has used a name change inspired by lowers of rocks and stones. Okay. So this was the... scaled armor was the armor passive. Avalanche, originally Eternal Mountain. This passive now causes you to gain a stack of Avalanche when you deal damage, increasing your damage done by 1% per stack up to 10 times. Oh, so you get plus 10% damage from this passive, okay. Okay. Can occur once every 10 seconds at rank 1, 5 seconds for rank 2. Every 2 seconds you fail to deal damage, you lose a single stack. I mean, this can be giga strong, right? Especially in duels, you will always have this active, basically, with dots. Just light weaving. So it takes 50 seconds to build it up fully. Or 25 with volatile. Interesting. Not 25, it's 10 second cooldown on volatile. Yeah, it's kind of strong passive. Similar to Amplitude, I guess, value-wise. Is there any ways to deal... Ooh, Shared Pain could be interesting. All you need to do is have dots on you. Which is always gonna be the case. You're just gonna do damage automatically. Could be a Shared Pain angle. Blessing at the Peak, originally Mountain's Blessing. No big change for this one, the group buff was moved to Elder Dragon passive, Ultimate Generation remains here. Okay, so this just became a Dogshit passive. So they removed the minor brutality, and you only get ult gen. Mountain Giant, originally Helping Hands. This passive has been reworked. It now causes you fully charged heavy attacks to apply off balance to the enemy. Applies after the damage, so you can't instantly stun the target with this. Also in rank 2 of this passive causes you fully charged heavy attacks to generate 1430 stamina. Consider proc, so no interplay with other effects. On top of whatever restore they normally grant, to help keep some of the original passive functionality. Holy shit. Well, I know what we subclass onto with the heavy attacker. Lightning heavy is gonna be very interesting with this. You know what else you can do with the skill line and the lightning heavies, which were dot damage for the first 2 ticks and direct damage for the last tick? You can do Koro. You can Koro and heavy attack. Zap zap. Passive should pair nicely with the Lava Whip, while also is giving you much more controlled and simple way of triggering off balance in general. This is also a buff for Pyrebrand. So you have Pyre Burster current fully charged heavy. What you can do is do like a bow heavy into Venom Arrow, for example. Or maybe you don't run Venom Arrow with the new igneous weapons, but That could also be interesting. Because then you have off balance, so you can do full heavy into... Maybe you have ways to CC without Saturn rocks. Also, does it require fully charged heavy attack, or... it says fully charged, so you can do medium wave to proc this. But that's probably fine. That's probably fine. It's not that hard to land fully charged bow heavies, for example. Interesting. Interesting. I can see workarounds to like how the Saturn Rocks pointless nerf is gonna affect the builds I have and other changes, so it's not gonna change too much. I think some of the things like corrosive are just bad changes for the game, and they shouldn't have done that. And those will affect the fun I can have on my builds. And those will also affect the fun I can have when fighting DK, so I don't see those as good things. There's some good changes too, but especially in the Draconic Power skill line. And I think some of the Ardent Flame changes are good, but... As you can see, we weren't kidding when we said we were doing a complete rework of the Dragon Knight class. Test all these changes for yourself when Update 49 arrives on the public test server on Monday, January 12th. Eager to hear your feedback and see how the Fury class performs in your hands. Don't forget this Dragon Knight class refresh is part of Season 0. We'll go live with Update 49 on March 9th for all platforms. Be sure to share your thoughts on the above changes with us. My Blue Sky X Instagram page. Okay. Tuned in what they've done. What's Paladin? They've done a lot. They changed everything about DK. Some good changes, some bad ones. I'm worried about the Koro thing though. I don't understand why they don't touch Obsidian Shield. I think the heavy attack passive is interesting. Makes the class or the skill line very different from a lot of other ones, but I think the biggest L is the Koro change. Second biggest L is the Saturn Rocks nerf. I think we could have just kept Koro as it is. Maybe give dot damage to Magma Shell. Only dot damage, not direct. To offer that option for DK. To build around that. This is gonna unbalance the gameplay a lot. I think some of the better changes, the heavy attack passive. I think the wings is really interesting now. That's a good change. Could be a very solid CC now. Quag remains to be seen if it's kind of like Polawind. You could have... you could actually maybe survive in Koro. If you have additional heal over time. And a way to just click back to full with Quag. With Quag or the other morph if you wanna go max health, but you definitely don't wanna go max health with Corrosive anymore. You lose all the defensive value from it. Let's say you play a 45k health DK. If you are in Koro, you take 3.6k per hit. You take full damage from Swammables, basically. Almost full. Cast Obsidian Shield. No. No. But even if you have 30k health, you still take a fuck ton of damage. What about... how do I get back to 900? How little health do I need to have? 20k health, you still take 1.6k. Still almost twice the damage you take currently with 30k. You have 16k health, which is like the absolute minimum. It's still more damage. It's still 33% more damage than currently. You have 16k health. That's gonna be very noticeable. I don't know if there's a way to have enough heal over times to make up for that. What they do to Cinderstorm? Cinderstorm is now 8 meter radius. It's a good change as well, I think. Cinder change was good. It's 8 meters and they removed the snare though from Cinderstorm, but the other morph has the snare and it gives major protection. So if you want to play some non-monomyth build, I think that's a very solid option. Also, I think the Doesn't Green Dragon Bot still give minor vitality? I don't think they removed that. So you could definitely make some non-monomyth build with the new eruption. 70% snare on 8 meter radius is huge. And you still have a little bit of healing. It's less than Cinderstorm, but should still be decent heal, right? I don't know. Request testing. Should we... we're gonna test all of this on BTS on Monday. I kind of want to stream this and maybe continue the tier list. Could do that. Bossa Sensus means more bar space. Yeah, you could try play without a CC, for example. Just don't play with a CC, and maybe you heal with the Flame Lash, and you get off balance from the heavy attacks. So you lose the Saturn Rocks heal, but it's gonna feel different. It's gonna feel a lot squishier with the Koro chains as well. Not a huge fan of that. Definitely not a huge fan of that. Maybe next meta is gonna be something like a Koro build with sword and board, where you just play perma block or something. Because you still reduce the spammable damage by blocking. But I don't know. It's kind of like disable the possibility of getting bursted when you get an unblockable CC. And then you can sustain with the new sustain skill. DK tier list is now obsolete. The skill tier list? No, it's still for the, like, what we have at the moment in game, like how things could have been, I suppose. Maybe it can still inform just like how they should maybe consider some alternatives to things. Because I think like my idea for Magma Cell is way better than what we have here. Like I didn't want to do complete reworks, just balances on the skills numbers wise and some like minor changes. But I would rather see a minor change to a lot of the abilities that are currently fun than like complete reworks. I think like Flames of Oblivion, this AoE, I don't know how many people are going to run it, for example. Did they increase the Cauterize cost as well? Hold on. The Cinderstorm Inferno. This is the Anti-Flames of Oblivion morph, so not they didn't change Cauterize. Okay. I think most TKs will run Cauterize instead of the other one, so you get some extra healing from that on a Koro DK as well. You lose some damage every 5 seconds, but maybe that can make up for the Giga survivability nerfs that DK is getting. Talons maybe? Why would you play with Talons though? Like you do want to shot DK abilities now with some of the passives, but Talons is still a bad skill compared to Soul Burst with Oblivion Dot. The radius on Talons is just not acceptable. 6 meters is terrible in PvP. I think they definitely need to buff the radius there. But anyway, we can work on the tail list a bit. Very interesting changes though. I need to upload this to YouTube too. So we'll just update the tier list a bit, and we did Nightblade skills last time. I need to upload the Nightblade video as well. And I need to edit the DK yapping we just did. Elfbane is still not gonna be a good set. Because when you build for Koro, you want to maximize the value you get from Koro. You don't want to lose offensive pressure because you run a set that's intended to increase the duration of your ultimate. Like if you need the last seconds of Koro, it's probably just to survive. Usually people die within the like first few seconds of Koro, for example, if they see it, they start kiting, right? They can just kite it out, and you don't get ulti while you're in Koro, so you still need as much time to build it up as before. Yeah, no, I think Elfbane is just not good. Even if you buff Corrosive and not Magma, so the duration with it. It's unlike Yorvul's. Yorvul's is Yorvul's an Arcanist, because you buff the gibbering duration by 4 seconds, right? It's different because you also have Ultigen active while you have gibbering, so it just makes more of the you have gibbering up more of the time. So you have less window of where you can be killed. Y la pupo, ¿qué pasa, amigo? ¿Cómo estás hoy? Estoy bien, estoy bien. Acabamos de leer de los cambios que van a hacer a deck. Eran interesantes. Pero espero que estés bien. Paris better dots in Koro. Yeah, you're gonna have Firebrand, Sun, and Relican, and you cannot survive that if you play against it. If you get full pen on all of those dots, and you have the new Venomous Claw taking super hard on the elastics as well, and you have some whip hitting for 100% of the damage, like plus 100% damage instead of plus 60% for full pen, you will not survive that in a dueling environment. Like, that is just unsurvivable. And I wish SOS would kind of look at the high-end PvP gameplay when they're making these balance changes. That would be great. Larry Pupo, thank you for the first prime. Gracias por el prime. Lo aprecio. Muchas gracias. No ulti sustain for 15 seconds. 15 seconds of Giga damage. Do you need 15 seconds though? You can just time it. You can time it with Sun and the elastics of Venomous Claw, and there you go. For outnumbered fights, you click Koro, you're still gonna die. It doesn't matter if it's 15 seconds, because now you take 8% of your max health. So if you're outnumbered and getting struck down, Koro's not gonna help you like it used to. So these are just terrible changes. Just terrible changes. To Koro and Saturn Dogs mostly. The other stuff is fine. Maybe some broken shit here and there, but I don't like the Koro change. Anyway, we have the tier list. Did Nightmare last time? We can do Templar now. Javelin. Where do we put Javelin, and where did it go? It just disappeared. Oh right, we need to minimize this. Javelino, I think, is an... is it an S tier CC? It's really good. Sometimes better than Saturn Rocks as a CC. So we're only looking at the ability, not the skill line. Keep in mind. Like, Adric Spear gives you some Giga passives. Not Aurora Javelin, it's the knockback, yeah. I think most people run Binding. I think the knockback is also good. It does more damage if you're at range, but people run this on like melee builds with Crescent and like melee spammables, so it doesn't get the extra value. Just knock people away from your melee abilities. I think as a range CC, it's still the best option, right? Maybe like high A tier is fine. It's on the verge of being S tier, but there, like, it could be better, right? Binding Javelin, on the other hand, I think is kinda broken. That's an ability is as good as Saturn Rocks, no. I don't wanna put it S tier though. Put both at high A tier, maybe Aurora Javelin a bit lower. It's mostly the skill line. It's not the CC. It just happens to be in the strong skill line for offensive passives. But as an ability, I think I would run Giant Rocks, for example, every time. I think it's on a level of its own. At the moment, of course, not the next patch, but yeah, probably around here for the knockback javelin. This project looking crazy good. Night and day. Yeah, no, I've seen it. I've seen it. I just need to upload my builds there. Need to find some time. Biting jabs, I think this is going to be very controversial, but I like it. Sorry for the jab haters out there. I know there are some. I think jabs are fine as a spammable in group play in particular. There are some changes I would make to jabs. Javelin I would not change. I think it's fine. But jabs, maybe like low A tier. It's not as good as concealed. Cannot put it on the same tier, but maybe high B tier. I'm not gonna put it A tier. Let's put it high B tier. So jabs, I think the duration on the Major Brutality and Sorcery should either be increased or it should just be passive when you have it slotted. The 10-second duration on the Major Brutality and Sorcery kind of sucks. I don't see a reason for it. Otherwise, it's a good ability. Has high chance of proccing minor beats and pretty solid AoE undodgeable damage. I would say B tier. Some changes required, I think, but Blazing Shield, on the other hand, is where would I rank it? It has to be above like all of these things in the F tier that they're not changing at all, by the way, almost. Modern Armaments, no changes. Igneous, no changes. Fragment, no changes. Choking Talons, no changes. Obsidian Shard was buffed, or is getting buffed next patch, but anyway, I digress. Where would I put Blazing Shield as a defensive ability? Probably like C tier, but where in C tier? Like around here. I don't think it's D tier. It's not as good as Hardened. Above F tier is crazy. If you look at what's in F tier, keep in mind you have Fragmented Shield and Molten Armaments, Igneous, Choking Talons, Obsidian Shard. The tooltip on this is actually pretty decent if you build for max health. And it does damage. Absorbs up to 0.3, so if you have 45k health, it's a pretty decent shield. It's 50% stronger than Igneous Shield. So you have a pretty solid tooltip, all things considered. 45k health is 13.5k shield. So 6k shield. I'm not gonna say it's good, it's still C tier, but it's not like awful, you know. Oh, and it gets exercise if you hit multiple opponents. And there's also that part. But it's 0.3 of your max health. You just have to build max health, most people don't do that. Still C tier though. Hardened Ward, by the way, I can compare to that as well. Hardened Ward also has the health scaling. But it's a lot higher. It's 44, so it's like 50% more shield size. So if you have 45k health, then Hardened would be... would be a 19.9k shield. So like 8, in PP like 8k, right? Or minus 50%. 9.9k shield. So this is still stronger, but... I think Blazing Shield could be like Hardened is right now. Or does have the scaling if you hit targets with it, but it could be close to hardened value right now and keep everything else the same. Maybe increase the damage of the reflect based on the damage the shield takes. It could maybe make it to like A tier at that point. So just the values should be better. But it's still C tier, like it's not as bad as all of this shit. Or regenerative ward. Can show you that morph. Which was D tier. So this one is 0.34 of your max health, so about the same, right? It's 0.4 more, but you don't have the scaling, and it doesn't do damage. You get some like pointless heal, that's like 500 on regenerative ward, but I think Blazing C tier could be better. Blazing Spear, this was changed recently, haven't really played with it too much. Gives you a self synergy with sustain. I think also either D tier or C tier. Because they also nerf the damage a lot. Still has a root, but it's very expensive to cast. The sustain you get is kind of lost by the amount of magic you spend on the ability. It used to be really good. It used to have an AoE with a spammable tooltip. It was about the same damage as Surprise Attack. Or a console weapon, a little bit less, but more than most spammables if you landed it. But then they changed it, and now it's kinda bad. So Blazing Spear, I think, would be now like low C tier. I kinda wish they would change it back to how it used to be. They can keep the other morph as the sustain one. But why change this one? Why nerf the damage? If anything, I would buff the damage over time, or maybe increase the radius so it's not as annoying to land as like targeted ground AoE. Although it was better than Shock Ring, so I believe it was 6 meters, or was it 8 even? But it always had the issue of it having a delay before it lands. There was like 1 second delay before the Blazing Spear landed. That was 6 meter radius, right? They could increase the radius and maybe keep the delay and just bring back the damage. That could be fine. Keep the self-synergy perhaps. But as it is right now, it's just bad. Crescent. This is one of the stronger ultis in the game at the moment. AoE does good damage, undodgeable. Would I rank it above Tether with Soul Cleaver? It's about the same, I think. It's just the skill line is really strong. But you still have a lot of people running like Incap over this, of course, in 1v1s, and I think Incap's a stronger ability overall, but Soul Cleaver, Tether, or Crescent? Both have cast time. The Crescent's a little bit more damage instantly, but this one also heals. Maybe like a little bit above... oops. A little bit above Tether. It's close though, I'd say. I don't want to put it S tier. But it is a strong ulti. So S tier we have Corrosive and Negate and Energy Overload. But it's A tier. This is the other morph that no one runs. Everlasting Sweep. It gets more duration based on how many people you hit. It doesn't get the plus 60% damage, so that kinda kills it as a morph in PvP. The duration is not that important. Probably put it still like high C tier though, if for some reason you want to run this morph. But Crescent is definitely more value. Hey Swampen, how you doing? Conclusions we have come to. A lot of good changes, a lot of interesting changes for DK, but also some really just brain dead ones. Like the Corrode change is bad and the Southern Rock change is bad. What's the DK news? It's pinned. There's a pinned comment. Also Toigan, I did not say hi, how you doing? I want his secret blazing shield tech to be used. No, I don't think it's worth on most builds, but it could be if it got some buffs. Explosive Charge. It's a really good gap closer, actually. I think it's on par with the Decay one there. I think it's up here in A tier as well as a gap closer. Get major protection, you get minor protection, you get minor from the passive. You also get the minor berserk from the passive. AoE damage, pretty good damage when you land it. I think it's the highest damage or burst damage gap closer in the game. If I'm not mistaken, I don't want to rank it higher than Chains though. But you can use it with, unlike Chains, you can use it with Rush of Agony. Because the gap loss is a bit more delayed. Chains, you kinda, like, the timings are very off. If you try to run it with Rush of Agony. But it's a good gap closer. Maybe put it like here. Just very good, especially defensively. I wouldn't change it, I think it's fine. It's the unmorphed. Luminous Shards, this is the other morph. The other morph gives you more sustain. It's better than Blazing Spear now, but still C tier. Still C tier because it doesn't really do damage. The sustain you get is kinda lost in the cost, the cost of the ability. Or the max sustain part at least. Synergy you can use only every 20 seconds. Can be good for group support, but you don't really need to run this for group support. Like, you can just run 5-piece sets that give sustain if you want to help your team sustain for some reason. Which shouldn't really be a priority for a support build in PvP. So Poly high C tier, they probably cannot change that too much due to PvE reasons, but could they maybe buff the dot damage on this one? Would that break the game if healers in PvE do more dot damage? Probably not. Maybe would make it somewhat usable in PvP if they did that. Or they can reduce the cost on this a lot more. The cost is too high for the like self-synergy sustain aspect of the skill. Especially now that they're buffing the Decay Inhale to be a sustain skill. They could do the same to this one. Just make it worth using for that. Oh, the Decay changes are mostly good, but there's some really bad ones that I hope they change on BTS. What's up, Belfast? How you doing? Functional Sweep. The Magicka jabs. These are terrible. These are actually terrible. While biting jabs are good damage, Functional Sweeps are not. You get a heal from them that is worth almost nothing if you check the CMX afterwards. It's just not doing enough. These could heal for 100% of the damage done, and you probably still wouldn't want to run it because it's so much less damage than biting jabs. I think what they should do with Puncturing Sweep, because biting jabs has a increased chance to proc Sundered, and does more base damage by itself and gives the, at least for 10 seconds, gives the major brutality and sorcery. I think Puncturing Sweep should have a... It should have a 10% chance to proc Overcharged, which is the status effect from magic damage. And then biting jabs could be the morph with the weapon spell damage buff, and Puncturing Sweep could be the morph that just heals you based on damage done. If the damage was the same, and that was like the difference between the morphs, I think Puncturing Sweeps could be fine. But as they are right now, I think it's probably like low C tier for this morph. It's not D tier, but it's not good. J-Bucks, how you doing? Is Leap Skill any better now? Yes. Draconic Power got some really good changes and really good buffs overall. I think Draconic Power and Ardent Flame hit the mark more or less. Minus the Flames of Oblivion change, I'm not too sure about that one, but Earth and Heart, they kinda dropped the ball there. And also Talons in Draconic Power didn't really get buffed. How do you feel about the Decay changes? Hey, what's Nularkas cheating? Did a crash out occur when you first read them? I don't think I crashed out. I disagree heavily with the corrosive change and the Satin Rocks in particular, but Like otherwise, some good changes, some really bad ones, especially the Koro one. If you read it, you'll see why. It's gonna be very broken and not in a good way. Whether you play a DK or fight against DK, you're gonna have a worse time than before. Which I don't think is what they should be aiming for with these changes. A Radiant Ward. So this one is about the same as Blazing Shield, I think. It doesn't have delayed damage, it has damage when you cast it. But you can get a bigger shield than Blazing Shield. I think it's probably slightly better for just overall than Blazing Shield, but not a lot better. It's still C tier. Again, same as Blazing Shield. If they buff the values on this one, if they make the shield bigger, then it's fine. This can be the delayed burst, this can be the bigger shield. But they need to buff the damage here and values, and they need to buff the values here. And then it's fine. New animations are nice too. Yeah, I'm looking forward to testing that, all of that on BTS on Monday. And Potato Power, how you doing? How's the stream? Did you already go over the DK stuff? Yes, I would recommend checking the VOD. There was a lot of yapping about the DK changes. Did we go over the still toppling, right? That's the unmoved shield. Toppling, I think, similar to Explosive Charge is good. The gap also with a CC, I think the only one besides Shield Assault. Also gives you a little bit of major protection uptime after casting it. I think a very solid gap closer. I think about the same tier as Chains, maybe a little bit better. There are cases where you want to run Explosive Charge instead of toppling. If you have a better CC like Saturn Rocks, or you want to run a better CC like Saturn Rocks, if you want a backbar gap closer for a Rush of Agony, then you go Explosive, usually. So there's definitely reasons why you run this, why they're both A tier, but overall I think there's more use cases for toppling. So we put it A tier, also off balance from gap close. Can be combined with bow heavies and ice heavies and stuff like that for a little bit of extra burst. I wouldn't change it, I think it's fine. So that's Cedric Spear over on S tier skill line. Or is it S tier or A tier? Not sure. S or A. Still very highly ranked. Downsweat, on the other hand, not that good of a skill line. Start with Dark Flare. Dark Flare is kinda terrible. Kinda terrible. Where would I put it? Would I run Dark Flare over Puncturing Sweep? I don't know actually. It's bad. It doesn't do good damage as a cast time can be interrupted. Dodgeable, slow travel time. It's like low C tier, I think. I don't want to put it D tier. I don't think it's Stone Giant bad, but very disappointing compared to how it used to be. It used to deal a lot more damage, was a really good like cast time burst skill, and I kind of wish they would bring that back. Similar with the DK dots when they talked about like how they don't want all the dot timers to be the same because DK feels like everything feels similar due to that. It's the same with cast time abilities. We have the same timer with Snipe on Dark Flare and things like Hardcast Frags, then it just feels the same when you use it. I think Dark Flare should be a long cast time ability. It should take you out of Sneak, out of Invis when you cast it. It didn't always used to, they changed that a couple of years ago, but they should give it back to cast time. But make it hit a lot harder, I think. It is dodgeable, there's counterplay to it. So they could do that, get rid of the Empower, that's pointless. Just a waste of power budget for the ability basically, having Empower on it. But yeah, increase cast time, maybe make it good for ranged burst builds. Have that be a template thing where they have strong cast time abilities, for example. That could be interesting in the future. Especially when combined with Javelin, it used to be fun, but it's just really meh nowadays. Low C tier. That's the unmorphed Living Dog. In duels it's good. In open world it's very meh. And in BGs you don't really get that good value out of it, but I still think probably B tier, right? Probably like low B tier as an ability. Has some limited use cases where it's worth running, but I don't know, how would I change this? It's a 12-second buff. I think the... maybe they should remove the... they could nerf the healing on this. But they could remove the cooldown. Like maybe a big nerf to healing and remove the cooldown. So there's a half-a-second cooldown at the moment. Won't get into heal. Or they could reduce it to like 0.1 seconds or something like that. I don't see another way to make this more like universally useful. Because that would make it better if you're really outnumbered. Taking a lot of damage from lots of people, then you'd get more healing, but you'd get less healing in duels, probably. I think that would be a good way to balance it a little bit more. Yeah, still low B tier, I'd say. Power of the Light, another ability that's very like 1v1 dueling centric. Would I rank it above Living Dog? It's also probably B tier. Or maybe like high C tier. Let's put it low B tier, it's probably more accurate. I don't think it should be in the same tier as Dark Flare and Daedric Prey and whatnot, but... Hunting Curse, for example, is more usable. Goes off a lot faster as an ability is better than Power of the Light. Power of the Light gives your opponent way too much time to cleanse it, or prepare for it. And in BGs that means that they usually die, or they get healed, or they cleanse before it goes off. It's the same reason why Daedric Prey is bad compared to Hunting Curse. Daedric Prey has the 6-second timer. Or is it 6 seconds or is it 8 seconds even on that one? But anyway, like you have too long of a timer before it goes off. I don't think they should change that, because then you just have a Hunting Curse copy, basically. And you also have a condition of like where you have to stack it up with the damage you deal. Unlike Hunting Curse, so it's a little bit different, but... How would I change this? I think the timer should maybe not be 6 seconds. They could maybe slightly reduce it to 5 seconds or something like that and adjust the stacking accordingly. Or they can keep it as it is. But it's mostly a dueling ability. Also applies minor bleeds when you cast it. I think it's mostly fine, it doesn't really need huge changes. Purifying Light is kind of the same, it provides some heal over times, also people run this over Power of the Light. It's less damage, less pressure, because you don't get the minor bleeds and you don't get the Sundered stage effect when you cast it and when it goes off. You get the heal over time instead, which people also use in duels mostly. In open world it's kind of pointless. Maybe this one is high C tier. Or Power of the Light is B tier, because you have even less use cases for Power of the Light, or Purifying Light, than you do for Power of the Light. It's like sometimes you apply this to someone and they just stop focusing you, they range you, and then you don't get value from the heal. You always get value, or most of the time get value from the heal in duels. Power of the Light, you apply it, then you always get the Sundered, you always get the minor bleeds. It's a lot better in open world, even if it's still bad there. Probably B tier or high C tier. Again, maybe it could be 5-second duration instead of 6, but it's not like super amazing. Or you know what they could do? What could be interesting if they wanna rework things entirely? They could make Power of the Light a dot instead. A dot over 6 seconds. Every second it deals damage based on how much damage you're dealing. So it should still have that stacking, where like, first tick would deal a little bit of damage. Second tick, if you land like an in-gap on that first second, like that would hit really hard. But maybe it's still not fully stacked. And then on the last ticks, it would deal big damage. Not as much damage as right now, because you shouldn't have an ability that does burst damage every second, of course. But it could be like 50% of that or something, and overall do more damage over the duration. Just be a pressure skill instead, or something like that. That could be interesting. Would make it a bit more usable in BDS and open world. A bit more like immediate value or faster value. Radiant Destruction is the unmorphed, right? Radiant Oppression is the morph. Okay, so Beam. Beam used to, like, it would have been S tier back in the days, but right now Beam is poly. It's a better CC than Mage's Wrath. But being dodgeable kinda sucks. Kinda sucks. It's probably still usable though if you somehow find a way to use Dance Threat in open world, but where would I rank it? It's B tier. It's for sure B tier. In open world it's better than these skills. Still. So this might be a bit controversial. I'm gonna rank it above Path of the Light. Much worse in duels, but much better in open world. Especially if you play in a group. But ultimately not a good ability still. It's not Killer's Blade. Tier execute either. But if you for some reason run Dance Threat, I still think it's usable. I would make it undodgeable again, by the way. That would be my change to Beam. It was annoying, like having people beam you and you just be guaranteed to take a lot of damage if you dropped in execute, but there was counterplay to it, and it is okay to have strong abilities in the game. It is okay to have strong ranged executes as well. They don't need to take that away entirely. Maybe they could revamp it though, like they could make it do more damage the longer you channel it, so you don't instantly get huge damage from the execute. It would still be undodgeable, but it would ramp up the longer you channel it. That could be a good change. It's not like instant beam and you're dead, but if you stay in execute and you like spamming dodge roll, you're just gonna get melted. That could be good. And they could buff the heal on this morph. And make the scaling be 50% again. I mean, it starts scaling at super low health. It's just a huge nerf for PvP, and that was unnecessary. Radiant Oppression is the one that does more damage, but it's more expensive. Or the execute scaling starts earlier. I still think the heal one is better for PvP. This one is probably like high C tier or something like that. But yeah, same thing. Just make it perhaps like undodgeable again, just ramping up in damage done instead. You should still do good damage if you have someone in execute with the first stick. It just shouldn't be as much as like Endless Fury, for example. But it should still be good damage on the first stick as well. It should give the opponent an urgency to heal up or line of sight. Instead of just like being, oh, I'm just gonna dodge roll, it's fine. Reflective Light, one of the worst dots in the game. It's either D tier or just, it's not F tier, looking at the abilities here. It's not F tier, but I would probably put it D tier. Just a question of where in D tier. Like around here, I would say. I think Reflective Light, it should give you the... maybe they could fully rework it, but I think it should give you the crit buff while being slotted, which is what they've done with Flames of Oblivion and lots of other abilities. And I think it's called Reflective Light, so maybe it should apply some debuff on the target, where any range damage they do or any melee damage they do is like partially reflected to them or something like that. Could be an interesting debuff, like AoE debuff like that. They could give it something interesting. Right now it's just bad. It's just a dot, like it doesn't really do anything else. Solar Barrage is the other morph of Dark Flare, right? What would I rank Solar Barrage? It's 5% damage on class skills. Same with the Darkflare, by the way. It gives you a small buff, but it's an 8-meter radius area around you. If you have space for it, it's good. It doesn't really give you anything else, though. It gives you 5% damage, and it has to compete with for that slot with things like Quick Cloak, Major Evasion, Expedition, Broken the Cliffs. But it's still probably better than Darkflare, to be honest. Probably C tier, high C tier. Probably around like Ambush tier, otherwise. Maybe a little worse, not sure. Let's put it here. They just get rid of the Empower to free up power budget for the skill, and the class skill damage one is fine, can keep that. The radius is amazing, love that. But maybe the damage should be better. To kind of compete with the Quick Cloak and Arctic and all of the similar abilities. The damage should be higher, or it should tick more often, like every second or something. But it's one of those skills that would be buffed if the skill line was better. Gotta keep that in mind as well. So maybe I won't change it too much. Or if the Templar class skills were better, because you have the unique 5% to class skills buff. It's the Unmorphed Flare. Solar Disturbance, this is the Morph, right? It's not Solar Prison of Nova. And this is the worst Morph, if I'm not mistaken. I need to actually check this, because I never really... Oh no, this is the Morph. It's just Nova. Oh, this is the other... Okay, never mind. This is the one that has reduced cost, and this is the one that deals more damage, so this Morph is the bad one. The Solar Disturbance one. It's probably, as an ultimate, still better than the Nightblade one, but either low D tier or probably low D tier. Still get a synergy, it's just not really the Morph you want to use. What would I do on this one? It only has the effect of lasting longer. People just get out of the area in PvP. And the Major Maim lingers, but it can still be cleansed. What would I do to this one? I would increase the damage a lot. Maybe this could be the damage morph and the other one the synergy morph. Because the synergy is used in PvP. In group play. And this is the other morph. The other morph we probably put in low B tier for the group play reasons. For solo play, it's absolute ass. It's terrible. But for group play, maybe it deserves a B tier. It's the hardest hitting synergy in the game, if I'm not mistaken. Also stuns when you use the synergy. You know what they could do? They could make the synergy usable by yourself. Similar to the what they did with the Blazing Spear. This could make Prison a very interesting ulti for solo play. A tier, I can't rank it A tier just because group play. It's not used by every group either. But it is still like best in slot for many comps, right? I mean, Piercing Mark is best in slot for some builds. Debilitate is best in slot for some builds. Venomous Claw is best in slot for some builds. I think it's still a B tier. Maybe we rank it a little bit higher. Like I wanna rank it above Beam, let's be honest. And maybe Flameless, but I think here is fine. I think what they should do, they should make the synergy usable by yourself. If they do that, then this becomes really good for solo play. It's very expensive, but you could have a like high burst. It has some like animation counterplay. People see it drop, they can hold block the synergy, right? Doesn't really change anything for group play if you use it yourself, the synergy. And I think the other move, if they do that, the other move could be a synergy that multiple people can use, not just one. Although that would be, it would be less damage, would be a lot less damage than the other move. But multiple people could use the synergy and maybe the dot of the skill should hit harder. That could be a good way to balance it. Rose, how you doing? And RK, hello. And through the decade changes does not look good at all in your opinion. The Koro and Satin Rocks Those are the big issues. Also, they didn't buff some abilities that really need buffs. They didn't buff any of this. Like, look, Choking Talons, no changes. Fragmented, basically no changes. Plus 12% buff on a shield. That's like 2k shield. Not gonna affect too much. Igneous, no changes. Molten Armaments, no changes, basically. It's still gonna be the useless morph. So yeah, all of these are bad. The Wing Change was good, actually. It's a really good ability now. It's a race against time and a CC in one skill. So you get major precision, snare and root removal, a delayed CC with a knockback, 50% range damage reduction. Yeah, that's just a better race against time. Yeah, Fossil Change I don't like at all. But anyway, Templar skills actually kind of low ranks so far. Do we have no S tier abilities on Templar? Oh wait, no, we do. We didn't get to Restaurant. Never mind. Oh, I'm stupid. Unstable Core. This is a very clunky CC. People use this in duels sometimes, but I don't think it's that great compared to alternatives like Javelin. It's very annoying to fight against. It's probably C tier, high C tier. Probably put it here around like Perfan Light. Maybe less than Beam, but very clunky ability. I don't know how I would change that. Maybe reduce the delay on it. There's like every first hit you do, you get a snare and you take some small damage. Second hit you do, you take bigger damage and you get a root. Third hit you do, you get a stun. The catch is that there's a cooldown of I think half a second between the hits, right? These the effects can activate once every 1 second. That's the problem. That's the problem with the skill and why it feels so clunky. People get rooted, they stop attacking you. It doesn't last long, it's only 4 seconds. So they need to be spamming abilities for 4 seconds to get the full value of this ability. Usually if you try this in like BGs, for example, it's very low in damage time because people stop attacking you. Or stop attacking entirely if they have the bubble. Or they cleanse it if they can, it's also cleansable. So I think the delay should be like half a second. Or the duration should be longer. But I think longer duration would be annoying. So what they should do is maybe make it half a second delay. So it has more likelihood of doing like of getting good value than it has right now. Right now it's just a dueling skill basically. Templar has a lot of those, by the way. There's a lot of dueling skills. When Javelin 8 tier at minimum. It is 8 tier. It is high A tier, almost S tier. It's not Saturn Rocks. If it was like if Saturn Rocks wasn't so much better, Binding Javelin would be in S tier. Need to be and Streak also as a CC. Well, not just as a CC, but because you have the mobility aspect of Streak as well. It does more than Binding Javelin. I didn't contemplate to interrupt this odds since interrupt is. Oh yeah, that's kind of pointless. Like if you're casting interruptible abilities in someone's face who's in melee range with you, you can just bash them. That interrupt like whole aspect of the skill is pointless. It's completely pointless. There doesn't need to be a counterplay to bad play. But yeah, they could have done something else there for that morph. But it wasn't a big issue really. Okay, what do we have? Vampire's Bane. So this morph is even worse than... It has more duration than Reflective Light. I think Vampire's Bane is a fucking F tier ability. It's kind of like Molten Armaments for crit. This one at least goes on multiple targets. This one is one target, more duration, and that's it. F tier. And they should just rework this one. Maybe make it do a lot more damage. The crit buff should be just for having it slotted. And I think the... you don't want to make it too similar to DK abilities though, or other dots. I don't know. You could make this do like some... unique damage taken debuff, but then it's broken in PvE. I don't know what they can do to Vampire Spin actually, but it's an F tier ability in PvE. It's terrible. Isn't Wings is fun? Horrible concept probably applies stun immunity to targets. Yeah, of course. Like if you knock them back, that's a CC. It's a delayed CC too. With a lot of good effects to it. Gerals? What about Gerals? Cody, how you doing? Hello. I'm going to post a portion of the video on DK skills, or should you rewind? It will be on YouTube, but I would probably rewatch it because I don't know when it's gonna be out. Probably today. I want to get it out as soon as possible. Do you know any changes yet? Other links? There's one pinned comment at the moment as the whole post. We went through all of the DK changes earlier. There was a lot of them. Some good ones, lots of good ones actually, but also some really stupid ones that I hope they change on BTS. Like the corrosive and Satan rocks. Vampain is tech with Gerald. Why? Why is it Gerald tech? If it ticked every half a second, it would be. Maybe that could be a good change. You could make Vampire Spain tick every half a second, be like a really fast ticking dot on the target. But like, why would you run it over? Why would you run this one even? It's D tier. The second duration savagery. Yeah, or you can have like Flames of Oblivion or a Bowproc that are like infinitely better, or even the like Necro Corpse buff that ticks every half a second and gives you damage stun for being slotted and sustain. There are so many better dots to run than Vampire Spain. I would rather run crit from bots than Vampire Spain. I would rather run Camo Hunter for just more damage on everything than Vampire Spain. And not have to cast this every 30 seconds. Then have it be dot sold. Have to cast again. I think it's an F tier ability. It needs something to make it worth running. Oh, you know what? You could have a heal debuff on this. You could add a unique heal debuff to Vampire Spain. That Charles gave me an idea. Because that wouldn't affect PvE. You could make this like debuff the healing of the target each tick, stacking up, kind of like a ability Gerald. Maybe like up to 30% or something. That could be interesting. And give the crit just for being slotted. Hey, that's a good idea. Would make it a lot more usable. Okay, now the broken shit. Restoring Light, S-tier skill line, easily. Where would I rank this move? It's not as good as the other one. This one heals another target for like 50% of the heal strength. It's still probably like high C tier as a burst heal? Or is it? No, I think it's like mid C tier. I think this should heal another target for a full value. It's kinda meh as a healer ability. And the other one is a lot better as a self-heal. And also as a healer ability, because you get a lot more sustain than you do with Breath of Life. Having 50% heal is not really enough. It should be 100%. I think that's the one change I would make there. And you should always heal yourself. Channeled focus, well... This is the reason we have Hurricane in A tier. Because this is the best armor buff in the game. I wouldn't change it. I think I would just buff other things. I think it's a fun ability, gives you a lot of sustain, lots of healing. It procs your passives from the skill line as well. It is really strong, but look at the DK changes they're doing. There's gonna be a lot of other really strong abilities in the future. I wouldn't change it really. I would rather just buff the weak ones. Where would I put this? It's an armor, like it's just a giga armor buff. And sustain buff. Has to be way above siphoning. Probably like over here, maybe. Is it better than Koro? Or Merciless? I mean, it kinda is. I would put it here. It's just one of the objectively strongest abilities in the game. Period. Base skill A, both morphs S. Yeah, but we're not ranking the base skills. Base skill is this one, Rune Focus. Extended Ritual. S tier, but no, it's probably like around here as well. Best cleanse in the game. You could argue that the hexproof is also good, but you can sustain extended very easily. The good thing about hexproof is the sustain that you kinda in the past would have needed, but since you can run focus and nets, for example, just get a lot of sustain from subclassing. I think extended is better nowadays because you also get the heal. You also get the heal and the synergy for your team. Would I change it? I would not change it. What do you think of that idea of their only buffing DK first? Is that not going to cause issues in PP? It is. It's going to be a DK patch, I think. Unless they balance things on the BTS, but some of the things are going to be very broken. I think dueling meta is going to be Venomous Claw and Zaan, Relic and Firebrand, and people go Koro and you die. That's going to be the dueling meta. Calling it now. Hasty Prayer, this the AoE heal, gives minor expedition. Very expensive. People do run it in group play sometimes, but where would I rank it? It's probably still C tier, I think. I don't know, it's kinda expensive. And the tooltip is less than a burst heal. Where did I put the Breath of Life? It does the AoE healing or group healing better than Breath of Life. 50% of Breath of Life is less than what you get from Hasty Prayer. And you don't give people minor expedition. So I think it's probably like low B tier as a heal. It's probably fine. Would I change it? I would probably buff the heal tooltip a little bit. Not a lot, but a little bit. It doesn't have any heal times attached or anything like that, but I just wish the heal was a little bit stronger on that one. Could maybe consider using it on like Templar Healer and BGs and stuff. One for alternatives, like just healing soul spam or the death spam. Super S tier, the armor buff, yeah. That's a Markotech. And Verus, how you doing? When are the DK changes happening? On BTS, they're gonna be on Monday. So next patch. Also activate Sacred Count, yes. So get the minor mending and the block mitigation. Healing Ritual is the unmorphed one, I believe. Honor the Dead. Now this one is better than the other morph. It's pretty sustainable. It is not shoot offering or healthy offering. But I think as a heal, is it A tier? Or is it high B tier? I think it's probably low A tier as a heal. So we're gonna have Polawind here. Where did I put Quag? Hold on. Quag is here. It's about the same, I think. If for some reason I happen to be playing Draconic Power, I would consider running Quag. If I play Dark Magic, I would consider running Vibrant Shroud. If I play Honor the Dead, I would consider running Honor the Dead. Wouldn't always run it, but it's not bad. It's not bad. So I think these are probably around like same power level. And I won't really change it too much. Maybe speed up the resources you get back. It's over 6 seconds right now, I think, but if you spam the ability, you don't get the value of that. So it should maybe be the same value, but over like 4 seconds or even 3 seconds or something like that. Could be a little bit better, but it is A tier heal, I think. Doesn't really need to be buffed too much. Practiced Incantation. No, this one is the one that allows you to move. It is a good healer ulti, but I think it's better than Soul Siphon. I do. Has a lot of range, heals every second for a lot of like long duration. Use it more often than Soul Siphon. It does have some issues, but I think the issues are because people don't build properly on Templar Healer. They don't build tanky enough. So what this used to do, it used to procure 33k armor passive. It doesn't exist anymore. People used to be giga tanky when spamming the Templar heal. But right now you don't have that. You're locked in a channel. You don't spend any resources on the heals. It's AoE heals every second over the duration. But the AoE heals are like Hasty Prayer. They're not like Honor the Dead. You don't get a full burst heal tooltip every second. Which actually means that if you see a Templar spamming the ultimate heals, they are more killable than if they're holding block and spamming Honor the Dead. Because they cannot block during this either. It's not a big downside. So, ironically, that is the time that when you want to focus them, is when they're using the ulti. Which in the past would have been very counterintuitive, but not really nowadays. Actually, for that reason, I'm gonna put it B tier. I don't think it's an A tier healing ult. I think it's very easily countered. You can still try to build tanky enough to not die during it, but you do have to cancel it very often. Like you have to block and ball away in many situations. So it's kind of a like backline healing ult, the same as Soul Siphon, except without the major vitality. I can put it A tier, I think. Can put it A tier. Restore is better. Oh, I'm not gonna rank Restore high either. Because Restore's only one person. But it does allow you to do other things meanwhile. Like you can spam AoE heals while you restore. But the range and the like free healing when you're selling is nice. I think it's still high B tier, but I would probably make this just you know what would be interesting? I think the skill, I think the base version of the skill should it should reset the cooldown of your Lightweaver passive. And then it should proc because the channeled skill should have a permablock value to this. Now I know a lot of people in the chat might not like that, given how annoying these healers are, but it would like there are other ways to play healer that are stronger than this right now. People just don't play it. That's just that's just how things are at the moment. This skill needs some buffs. Although I don't know if perma-blocking healers while they spam this is a good thing. Maybe something else. Should it just give you the armor again? So you don't need to build around the armor. It could open up some build options. Maybe it's give you mitigation while you channel it. Just plus 10k, maybe not 33k, but should give you armor at least. Or some tankiness while you do it. I don't know. Very, very disappointing right now though. Compared to how it could be. Radiant Aura. Actually for a healer it is not bad. It's not bad, it gives you regens for being slaughtered. And it gives your teammates regens as well when you cast it. Has no cost. It's like almost infinite range, like 40 meters or something. It's pretty solid. As a group buff, I think it's probably making it to B tier. I need to put it above Igneous. If I had a Templar healer right now, I would run it. I do run it on some healers with the Restoring Light, right? So I would probably put it here. Like B tier. I think the ability is fine. They don't need to really change it too much. They could rework it if they nerf other stuff in Restoring Light. They could have it to be like some kind of weapon buff, like the new DK Igneous that they're doing. That gives magic damage and gives you like some fancy effect when you hit targets or something like that for the caster, not for the crew. Something like that could be cool. So it could be better, but it's alright. Remembrance, this is the other move of the healing ulti. This one doesn't allow you to move. Has more duration, I think, if I recall correctly. Or was it that you keep the major protection longer after you leave? I think it's major protection for more time, yeah. And the other move, wait, the other move doesn't even give major protection. It should though. It should give you major protection and armor. And this one should give you maybe Remembrance. You know what? I think Remembrance should give you. It should reset the cooldown of the Light Weaver, because you can move and not still do full damage to someone who's spamming heals, and you can't really like walk after your teammates, for example. So you would run out of range. Maybe the radius should be less on this, and this morph should give you more radius. But this one should give you block while you cast it. That would, I think, be fine. Because like drop ground AoEs and just warm down the person using this. They can't line of sight while they cast it, then I think it should be. It would be a lot more interesting than, oh, here, have some major protection after you end the ultimate or while you cast it. So if this just reset Light Weaver passive, and could be interesting. You could use it on solo builds sometimes too, but right now I think this morph is like D tier. Or not D tier, let's put low C tier. This morph is way better. It's like you can move, and this one is you can move. After all, you get some move speed and passive reset. Yeah, I think it should just, this one should be passive reset. Would be interesting. So many buffs on DK skills that I think Monomyth won't be one of the best in slot for PP anymore. I mean, it doesn't change itemization too much. It makes dot set stronger, so Firebrand and the Corrosive Sense, I mean. The Firebrand and Zaan, like they're buffing burning a lot, so Zaan is better on DK. Procs burning every tick. For example, there are some itemization changes, but when it comes to stat sets, not really. Unless you have major protection or major force from abilities, or minor vitality and minor berserk. That would be only time that Monomyth is affected in any way. Repentance I don't think is too amazing. It's better for solo play than Radiant Aura, but usually you don't have bar space for it. You get sustain if you kill targets. I think this could be, well, if you kill targets or if you run Blast Bones. This is something that a lot of people don't know, but you can use Repentance on Necro Corpses as well. From Blast Bones, from the armor buff. It can be a decent sustainability, I guess, but probably C tier. I tried some builds with it. They weren't too great, but it's not like, I don't think it's D tier. Like high C tier. Would rank it above Unstable Core and Beam, but it's a C tier ability. Should be better, I think. I think the concept is fine, but the amount of healing you get should be bigger, and the amount of sustain you get should be more. Maybe it could be decent then. Restoring Focus, well, we all know where this is gonna go. Channel is Magicka, this one is Stamina. I think Stamina is a little bit more common, but they both can be used. It actually has more healing, right? Didn't they change that? There's a bit more healing. Let's put this... They're kind of about the same, like it really depends on the build. They're both good. Could automatically suck the soul so you don't have to activate it. Oh, that could be interesting actually. Just having it slotted and it would automatically just go off. But what do you get for casting it then? What would be the activate? That would be kind of broken though. If you don't need a global to get sustain, you'd have infinite sustain on a necro. If that was the case, would be maybe a little bit too strong. Also a lot of healing if you did that. Oh, wait, what if you get a buff? What if you get a buff for 10 seconds that sucks nearby corpses? And then you get the heal and the sustain. And then they don't need to buff the heal or the sustain you get. Maybe 10 seconds is too much, but something like 6 seconds. That could be interesting. You could cast it before Blast Bones in that case. Or before you refresh the armor buff. Wouldn't have to cast it afterwards every time. Would make it feel less clunky to play that kind of build as well. Because it was kind of clunky when I played that. Ritual of Rebirth. This one is it's D tier, right? What did this one even do? It heals someone who's outside of the area, right? But you don't give minor expedition. And cost reduction. It's giga expensive. You get some heal on someone who's outside of the radius? Nah. This is bad. I think the other one is better. Unless you have someone in group running retreating maneuver, already given minor expedition, then maybe this one is better, but then you probably don't run someone, you don't have someone running the skill in the first place. Or the other morph even. It's not that much worse though, we probably put it here in like C tier. Like Daedric Prey tier, more or less. And we have one left, Ritual of Retribution. Only cleanses 2 effects. It's a dot on the area. The dot is pretty decent. The reason people don't run this one is because the cleanse is worse and it doesn't have the like strong heal all the time. If Extended Ritual didn't exist, you would see this ability being used just for the dot damage and the like small cleanse of 2 effects. I think it should cleanse 4 effects like Extended Ritual. Extended Ritual has a heal instead of damage and it cleanses 4. This one is only 2, but does damage instead. So why does this have to be less, and has less duration as well? Why does this have to be less cleansing as well then? I don't get it. Just make the cleanse, like make it cleanse 4 as well. It could be like up here with Extended Ritual and balanced. Lose heals, gain damage, simple. But you lose a little bit too much in comparison right now. Or is it A tier? Would you run it if you only cleanse, like you only cleanse 2, right? I think B tier probably. It would still be used sometimes in duels and whatnot, but maybe you won't run it too often actually. Or like high B tier for that one. But yeah, right now you never see it because Extended Ritual is a thing. And that's the temple abilities. We'll do Warden next time. That's gonna be on wait, tomorrow, right? Yeah, tomorrow. I take Sunday off before the big day on Monday, but we'll do Warden tomorrow. Then we should have Arcanist and Necro left. And all of the weapon skills and whatnot. Still quite a bit left after that. But anyway, I didn't want to stream too long today. I just want to do the DK changes, yapping, and tier list. So no BDs or actual gameplay today. Sorry about that. It's not in mood, but we'll send you guys to someone who's maybe even playing the game. Let's see who's streaming. There is Kamul Kokra. Haven't read Kokra in a while. Awesome skills guide, thank you. Hey, my pleasure. Good to be always happy to yap about these things. If you guys have anything you want me to cover, whether it's a tier list like dungeon tier list, skill tier list, skill line tier list, or anything to react to, just feel free to let me know. I also have a channel on Discord where you can post anything I should react to. Can be found there. But anyway, enjoy Kokra's stream. He's doing some. What's he doing? He's running sewers. Wobbuffet, how you doing? Hello. Glad it was interesting. It's gonna be on YouTube as well. I'll try to get it out as soon as possible. Just need to edit a bit, make a thumbnail and whatnot, but anyway. See you guys next time. Thank you for hanging out. Have a good one. Bye.